Her face became uglier and uglier, and she was even more determined that her daughter's second half of her life must not be entrusted to such a mediocre boy. Yunlu Garden, Building 11, number 903. The dinner was still steaming hot, delicious, and tasty, but for the first time ever there were leftovers. Before this, stimulated by the meals prepared by Wu Jiangtao's elite cooking skills, not to mention Li Xiaoshan and Wu's mother, even Chen Jun had a very good appetite. She could eat 2 small bowls of millet porridge or a bowl of white rice, and there was never any leftovers. But this time, no matter how delicious the food on the table was, it couldn't dispel the depression and worries in everyone's hearts. After dinner, Wu Ma and Li Xiaoshan looked at each other, stood up in tacit understanding, and took Chen Jun to help her resolve her worries and depression. Xiaoshan, don't worry too much. I think your mother is just saying that out of anger. You are still breastfeeding, so don't be too depressed, otherwise it will be bad for the baby. Yes, Aunt Mo will come tomorrow for the sake of the 2 babies. Even if she is angry, she will definitely be willing to sit down and talk properly. Don't think too much. They were talking in the living room, while Wu Jiangtao was consciously cleaning up the leftovers and the dishes and bowls. There was a bit of leftover food tonight, so I poured the meat and vegetables into separate plates, placed them on the dining table, and wrapped them with plastic wrap when they were cool. Then I put them in the refrigerator's fresh-keeping compartment when they were cool. He turned around and went to the sink to wash the dishes and put them away. Then Wu Jiangtao took off his chef's apron and walked out. Spring has 100 years, and autumn has a moon. There is cool breeze in summer and snow in winter. If you have nothing to worry about, it is a good time for the world. Suddenly his cell phone rang. He picked it up and was stunned. He quickly answered the call, only to hear a long-lost voice. Taodo, long time no see. Uncle. Hey, I heard from your dad that you have a son and a daughter now. Tusk, your uncle is still single. By the way, what is your mom doing? I called her and she hung up on me. Oh, she's busy. Okay, tell her later that I have taken care of the matter, and will be there on time for the appointment tomorrow at noon. Uncle, you're back home. Well, I just came back yesterday, and I heard about your good deeds as soon as I arrived at the martial arts gym today. Wu Jiangtao. Chapter 70, Where are the people? Please read and vote for me, Tilda. Wu Jiangtao didn't take his uncle's visit seriously. He waited until his mother had comforted Chen Jun and then said something to her. That night, everyone was silent and not in the mood to talk. Although she couldn't be happy, Chen Jun still tried her best to relax herself and not think about what happened between herself and her mother. Instead, she focused more on her babies and healed herself with their angelic sleeping faces. Maya Omeo and Daodu have been out of the hospital for more than 3 weeks now. They are plump and white under the care of Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun, with their hands and feet chubby, as if they were wearing little swimming rings. Their sleep at night has also started to last longer, and they no longer wake up every 2 hours. After falling asleep after feeding at around 10 p.m., they now wake up twice a night, occasionally waking up once more, and it is becoming more and more regular. Now, these 2 new parents have also begun to adapt and form habits. There have even been several nights when the baby woke up. Chen Jun just turned over in a daze and opened the warehouse to put the food in. Even Wu Jiangtao did not wake him up. Before I knew it, it was less than a week until the full moon. In fact, even if Chen Jun's mother didn't come this time, Wu Ma also planned to find the chairman of Fei Yun Group in her own way and discuss with her how to arrange the full moon banquet for the 2 babies. Of course, the more important thing is how to deal with the future of her son and Chen Jun. From the root cause, the fact that things have come to this point today has little to do with Wu Jiangtao. Of course, if being tall and a bit handsome is a sin, then he deserves to be unlucky. Whether it was Li Xiaoshan who was sleeping in the guest room, or Chen Jun who was sleeping on the bed in the master bedroom, or Wu Jiangtao who was lying on the recliner, none of them slept well. After all, tomorrow at noon, Chen Jun's mother is coming. Can the conflict between her and her family be properly resolved? After seeing how strong Mr. Mo was, the 3 young men were all unsure, except for Mother Wu, who was much calmer. The night gradually deepened. This ordinary night passed quickly. In the early morning light, Mo Wan, who had not slept well the whole night, got up early and pushed open the floor-length curtains of the presidential suite. She could see a faint mist hanging over the sky above this southern coastal city. She stood there quietly for a while, and then thousands of rays of light came from the east, blowing away the faint morning mist. This is not a foggy day, but the result of the hot mist in the city overnight. Mr. Mo, your breakfast is ready. Do you want it delivered to your room now? The assistant sent a WeChat message. Okay. After washing with cold water, Mo Wan regained her spirits. Immediately, Zaya Wan pushed the dining cart into the living room of the suite, and then came to the bedroom and put some light makeup on her. Although she had no appetite, Mo Wan still ate up all the nutritious breakfast. Today, she had to keep her physical and mental state at peak condition. The warriors summoned by her bodyguard Zio Yi did not arrive so quickly, but Ms. Mo was neither arrogant nor impatient. She began to carry out various tasks from the group company in the suite, including contract signing, project approval, etc. Although as the chairman of the board of directors, she no longer asked about the specific details and only controlled the general direction of the company, there were still many things that needed her to handle personally. In a blink of an eye, it was already past 10 o'clock. Zaya is Mr. Mo still busy. King Ai, who was wearing a neat suit, came into the living room from outside. He looked at the assistant who was sitting in the living room and typing on the laptop and asked a question. Boss Mo is holding a remote meeting. She was originally going to be there in person, but because of things here, she changed it to a remote meeting. It may last until around 11 o'clock. Oh, King Ai frowned slightly. Then tell Mr. Mo that all the people I have gathered are here. Okay. What? At the same time, a young man who was dressed very fashionably, but looked to be only about 30 years old, walked out of the North Railway station of City F with a smile on his face. Behind him followed a young man who looked younger, with a helpless look on his face. Uncle, it's unnecessary, isn't it? You just came back from the South. Why are you worrying about my life events instead of taking a good rest at home? The younger one is naturally Yuan Huang. In the front, the one who looks a little older is Yuan Long, who looks much younger after shaving his full beard. Well, he is obviously in his 40s, but with his youthful appearance and his achievements in martial arts, he looks like a promising young man in his 30s. In addition, the two men have similar eyebrows and eyes, so when they stand together, they don't look like uncle and nephew, but more like brothers. You kid, just forget about running away. This is the order from my elder sister, your aunt, who said that she would take you to F-City for a blind date even if she had to tie you up. Do you think I really want to control you? Yuan Huang couldn't help but roll his eyes. But aren't you still single? Oh, now you've learned to talk back. Yuan Long smiled happily. Not bad, not bad. Let's practice together later. I'll loosen up your muscles and bones so that you can take your martial arts to the next level. This is not necessary, right? The nephew suddenly felt unwell. I think it's necessary. What? On the other side, Yunlu Garden. When everyone woke up in the morning, they were on high alert. The atmosphere at home was extremely tense. Even the nutritious and delicious breakfast that Wu Jiangtao personally prepared was tasteless. At around 10 o'clock in the morning, Wu Jiangtao was busy giving baths to the two babies, while Chen Jun was in charge of opening the warehouse and releasing the grain. After feeding, the two little guys did not fall asleep again as sleepy as they did at the beginning. Instead, they were pushed to the balcony outside the living room to bask in the sun, and were amused by their mother Wu and laughed. After feeding the baby and sitting in the sun for a while, Chen Jun felt a little hungry. However, she saw Wu Jiangtao still playing with the two babies and had no intention of getting up to prepare lunch. Chen Jun looked at the time and found it was already 12:30. He looked at him in confusion. Jiangtao, aren't you going to prepare lunch yet? Wu Jiangtao was stunned when he heard this. But isn't your mother coming soon? Don't worry, it looks like. She won't be here so soon, she said lightly. Wu Jiangtao, Wu Ma, Li Ziroshan. No, your mother told you on the phone yesterday that we must arrive before noon and asked you to pack your luggage. That tone and momentum, the mother and son really listened to what was said, so they wanted to wait for Mr. Mo from Fei Yun Group to come, solve the problem first, and then prepare lunch. In their opinion, for such an important matter, Mr. Mo must have arrived before noon, at least before 11 o'clock, but now, it's almost 1 o'clock. Where are the people? Fortunately, Chen Jun, who was in confinement after giving birth, had her own meals. Wu Jiangtao had already cooked a pot of radish and lean meat porridge and prepared a large bottle of warm and delicious soy milk in the morning, so she would not go hungry. I have already explained the reason in the previous chapter, and I really don't have the energy to say it again. I deleted and revised tens of thousands of words to write this conflict and climax. I had to use a group portrait approach to resolve this plot, so the foreshadowing and prelude will be longer, but I tried my best, please forgive me. I don't have any more drafts saved, so I have to design the detailed outline more carefully, for those who keep saying that I wrote this paragraph poorly or that it's not good. How about you help me design the detailed outline? Post it in the comment section and I'll copy it. Chapter 71, Collision. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. Not coming so soon. Wu Jiangtao was a little stunned. I didn't expect that even for such an important matter, she would still be late as usual. Chen Jun shook his head. Li Xiaoshan beside him couldn't help but cover her face, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Well, this is Ms. Mo, who is never late in the group company. But at home, she is a mother who is habitually late. Watching her son go into the kitchen to prepare lunch, Wu Ma suddenly remembered something and couldn't help patting her forehead. She quickly took out her cell phone and called her brother. Because she was worried about Chen Jun, she forgot about the blind date she had arranged yesterday and only just remembered it. On the other side, in a high-end restaurant, the uncle and nephew, whose stomachs were rumbling with hunger due to the food on the table in front of them, waited patiently, staring at each other. "Uncle, your sister called. Uncle, your sister is calling." As soon as the phone rang, Yuan Long immediately picked up the phone. "Sister, you're finally here." "What?" "What?" In the afternoon, around 1 o'clock and almost 2 o'clock, Yunlu Garden 903. Ding dong, ding dong. Suddenly, a pleasant doorbell rang, and several drowsy people in the living room perked up. Among them, Wu Jiangtao stood up immediately. When he was about to open the door, Chen Jun beside him stopped him. "I'll go open the door." Wu Jiangtao wanted to say something, but she just smiled and said, "It's okay, I'll do it." Tab, tab, tab. With soft footsteps, Chen Jun walked through the entrance and corridor, came to the door and opened it. Immediately, a familiar face that he had not seen for a long time appeared in front of him. "Mom." Mo Wan looked at her daughter with a sullen face. Although she was very angry, she felt a little relieved when she saw her daughter's face was rosy and her body was plump. "You want to piss me off to death." The mother said this almost with gritted teeth, and Chen Jun lowered his head slightly, did not respond but moved away slightly. "Mom, please come in first." Snort. Mo Wan walked in, followed closely by her daughter Chen Jun, and behind them were her assistant Xia Wan and bodyguard Xia Oi. As for the warriors summoned by Xia Oi, they all stood outside and did not come in. As soon as she came in, Mo Wan took a look at the house and was slightly stunned. With her vision, she could naturally tell that although the house looked simple, it was actually not simple at all, and could definitely be called a high-end residence. "Mom, this is Wu Jiangtao, and this is Wu Jiangtao's mother." Chen Jun hurriedly introduced them, and Wu Jiangtao and Wu's mother also stood up with smiles on their faces. "Hello, Auntie, I'm Wu Jiangtao." Unfortunately, Mo Wan looked at them expressionlessly without even saying a word to Wu Jiangtao. She turned to look at her daughter, Chen Jun. "Where's the baby?" "In the room. I want to see." Chen Jun and Wu Jiangtao hurriedly led the way, and Mo Wan followed, but inadvertently glanced at Xiao Yi, who was standing at the edge of the living room. The bodyguard nodded slightly to show that he understood. In the living room, Wu Ma originally wanted to follow, but when she saw this scene, her heart was moved and she stopped. As expected, as soon as Mr. Mo walked into the bedroom, the bodyguard Xiao Yi immediately turned around and opened the door. "Hulala." Immediately, 6 or 7 burly men in black rushed in from outside. They were over 1.9 meters tall, with amazing physiques, cold eyes, and long breaths. It was obvious that they were all extraordinary people. Wu Ma was surprised. This future mother-in-law is planning to. In the master bedroom, Mo Wan picked up Daodu and Mio Mio in each hand, looking at the 2 cute little angels with a doting look on her face, while saying something that was completely inconsistent with her expression. "Are you ready to perform your ceremony? If you are, come home with me." "Mom, didn't I tell you? I won't go home." Chen Jun frowned and said patiently, "I know it's wrong for me to do this. I want to have a good talk with you. Let's go outside and sit down and talk it over, okay?" "Talk?" Mo Wan's face darkened. If she hadn't been holding 2 cute little angels who were half asleep in her arms, she would have lost her temper. "Didn't you hear clearly what I said to you last night?" As she spoke, she actually turned around and walked out holding the 2 babies. "Forget about the things that are not packed. It's okay to stay here as a reminder. Come back with me." "Mom." Chen Jun was stunned and hurriedly chased after them with Wu Jiangtao, only to see the mother holding the 2 babies outside and saying to the tall and imposing young man, "Xiao Yi, take the young lady away." "Yes." King I took a step forward and stretched out his hand to Chen Jun, who was chasing him. At the critical moment, Wu Jiangtao reached out from the side and grabbed the opponent's wrist. Feeling that the other party was not simple, a hint of interest flashed in King Ai's eyes, but he had no intention of competing with the other party. He changed his grab into a cut and chopped at the other party's wrist. Almost at the same time, Wu Jiangtao's dunk also changed, changing the claw into a cut and also cut diagonally with a palm. Bang! The palms of both parties changed several times in the air in an instant, and Wu Jiangtao's face changed fiercely. He couldn't help but take a half step back, protecting Chen Jun as he retreated. The other party's attack was more experienced, and he gained the upper hand. King Ai, who had originally looked relaxed, changed his expression. He was actually unable to withstand the powerful force in the opponent's hand. He could not help but retreat 3 steps backwards. Huh. As soon as this happened, the other martial arts masters in the living room noticed something was wrong and immediately dispersed, surrounding Wu Jiangtao in the middle. As long as the employer gives the order, they will act together. There is no morality or martial ethics in the martial arts world of the new era. There was no such thing in the martial arts world in the 1990s, and there was no such thing when Chinese martial arts were popular 100 years ago, unless we go back several hundred years. Therefore, they will not have any psychological burden about joining forces to take down this young master with full strength. Wait, mother-in-law, there's no need to go this far. Wu Ma suddenly came out and walked to the entrance, standing in front of Mo Wan. Mother-in-law. Mo Wan finally looked at Wu Ma and said calmly, Madam, I don't know you and have nothing to do with you. I'm just here to take my daughter and my 2 grandchildren away. Please don't make trouble for yourself. AI, can't you sit down and have a good chat? Wu Ma shook her head helplessly and gave some advice patiently. Zhao Shan should have made it very clear to you that it was not my son who caused today's situation, but your daughter. Moreover, your daughter also made it very clear that she was not willing to go with you. She hoped that we could sit down and talk. Get out of the way. Chapter 72, Super Impact. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. Mo Wan didn't want to say a word to this old lady. She just waved her hand, and a star warrior beside her came over like a dragon and a tiger. He stretched out his hand and wanted to push this old lady away. The next moment, no one at the scene could see clearly what happened. They only saw this 1.9-meter tall, strong, and agile man suddenly leap forward, flying directly through the entrance, along the corridor and out of the door. Boom! There was a muffled sound, and everyone in 903 clearly felt the entire ground shaking. It can be imagined that the contact between this thing and the corridor outside was definitely a huge collision. Mo Wan was stunned, but the hired warriors around her reacted immediately. Several of them gathered in an instant to stand in front of her, staring at Wu Ma with serious faces. I misjudged. This unremarkable old lady is actually a martial arts master who has surpassed the star level. Damn, no wonder King Ai invited so many people this time. These warriors secretly groaned in their hearts. Another star warrior among them looked even more solemn and said in a deep voice, Mr. Yi, you didn't say before that we would encounter masters of this level in this mission. King Ai was also shocked at this time. It would be fine if he encountered a young master who was obviously stronger than him. It would be easy to deal with him with the help of others, but now such a great master suddenly appeared. No, how is this possible? Mo Wan was so frightened by the scene that she took several steps back while holding her 2 babies. However, when she saw the star-level masters and professional warriors crowding around her, she immediately calmed down and said in a cold voice, Humph, I didn't expect that your Wu family, who keeps a low profile, could actually have a martial arts master like you. Go ahead, I don't believe she alone can stop all of you. Hearing this, the warriors employed by her were speechless. They all looked at King Ai, who was confronting Wu Jiangtao at the side. That's right, in most cases, when warriors fight in a group, having more people is an advantage. However, in front of a great master with superb strength, no matter how many star masters and professional warriors there are, they can only give away their heads or turn around and run away. Perhaps because they run a few more steps, the opponent may spend a few more seconds to knock them down, making it impossible for them to even escape. And the woman in front of me, he killed one of the 2 star masters among them in just one encounter. What the hell? The more I look at him, the more he looks like a master with superb strength. What are you waiting for? Mo Wan was not a martial artist, so she didn't understand the huge gap between them, and she didn't know the concerns in their hearts, so she shouted again in a stern voice. Well, the one who pays the money is the boss, so no matter whether you can complete the task or not, just try your best. These warriors shouted angrily and surrounded Wu Ma. King Ai, who was confronting Wu Jiangtao on the other side, shook his head helplessly when he saw their attack. Well, what's the point of fighting? This group fight has turned into a tacit exchange of opinions. If they really did attack, they would definitely go for the opponent's vital points, rather than attacking fiercely but aiming at the opponent's innocuous parts. Shaking his head imperceptibly, King Ai also retracted his fist and made his position clear to the young master in front of him. I give up. Wu Jiangtao didn't understand much because he had never been in the underworld, but soon he understood. Bang, bang, ping, pong, bang. In less than 10 seconds, all 7 warriors who rushed forward fell to the ground. The 6 professional warriors, along with the Star Master, covered their bodies with their hands, sweating profusely from the pain. They all lost their fighting power and could not get up. Lin Lianker is thick. These warriors were also secretly cursing in their hearts. The economy has been in recession in recent years, and I finally found a job with high remuneration. I thought it would just be a simple task like standing guard, but I didn't expect to meet such a master with great strength. They want to cry but have no tears these days. It's really hard for a man to make a living outside. These warriors who came here for the high commissions were really upset. Failure to complete the mission meant that their commissions would be cut by most of the money. Even if they managed to get up and fight again, they would surely fail again, therefore. Although they still had the strength to fight, no one was willing to get up from the ground, and they all lay on the ground pretending to be dead. King Ai was naturally very clear about their physical condition and their thoughts, but he could not force them to stand up again. After all, the mission reward is just the mission reward, not the money for selling one's life. Mo Wan stepped back with a look of horror and stood next to King Ai. Then she calmed down a little and turned to look at her bodyguard. "What's going on?" King Ai had a bitter look on his face. He approached her and whispered, "Boss Mo, the other party is a master with superb strength. Give up. Even if I call 10 top masters, they will definitely not be able to defeat her. Strength into the state of transformation. Great master." Mo Wan calmed herself down. Although she didn't know what the two words meant, she quickly realized that the warriors she invited must be encountering strong men who could launch a dimensionality reduction attack on them. Otherwise, it would be impossible for such a situation where numbers could not form an advantage. "Now, can we sit down and have a good chat? What do you want to talk to me about?" At this moment, Mo Wan's heart raced. His mind was clear, and he was extremely calm. Well, she chickened out. On the side, Li Xiaoshan, who had been stunned for a while, quietly reached out her hand, poked Chen Jun, who was also a little stunned, and asked in a low voice, "AI, what will you do if you quarrel with your mother-in-law in the future?" Chen Jun thought calmly and replied, "She can't argue with me. This bestie. What I mean is, you can't beat her, girl. You actually, do you still dare to quarrel with this mother-in-law, who has extremely high fighting power? Is there something wrong with your brain? What? You guys go out first." As soon as King Ai finished speaking, he saw the warriors who had just been lying on the ground twitching, quickly got up from the ground, rolling and crawling, and rushed out of here one after another. For a moment, the whole living room was quiet. Among the people who finally sat down calmly and prepared to talk and communicate, Mo Wan, Li Xiaoshan, and Chen Jun, HMPH. After all, they were not professionals and had not received relevant training, so they couldn't help but burst out laughing. Li Xiaoshan, who had no burden, cried, "Ouch!" and threw herself into Wu Ma's arms, her shoulders shaking with laughter. Chen Jun leaned against Wu Jiangtao and also burst into laughter. The domineering mother failed to succeed. This girl is the happiest now. She is relaxed and laughs most freely, and Wu's mother can't help laughing. Chapter 73, come on, fall out. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. Looking at everyone in the living room who were laughing happily, Mo Wan felt a little embarrassed. She couldn't help turning her head and glaring at King Ai beside her. Her bodyguard, who was hired through a special channel, also smiled bitterly and indicated that he would explain to her later. "Have you laughed enough?" Mr. Mo had a fierce look on his face and snorted coldly. "Stop laughing, stop laughing." Li Xiaoshan got up from Wu Ma's arms, stretched out her hand, and patted Chen Jun. "Hey, your mom is calling you. You're still laughing." The two girls stood up straight and took a deep breath at the same time. Originally, this was not a very funny thing, but Li Xiaoshan made a face at Chen Jun again. Chen Jun tried her best to hold it back, held it back. However, the best friend opposite her rolled her eyes, came up with a plan, and suddenly scratched her best friend's waist, which was covered with a lot of fat. Chen Jun screamed, "Oh my ha-ha-ha-ha-ha." The two best friends hugged each other and laughed together. The laughter at this moment made the joy in the living room increase exponentially. I have to say, these two girls are so cute. Seeing this, Xia Wan, the personal assistant of Mo Wan's camp, couldn't help but turn her head away, covering her mouth and laughing. Even King Ai, who had a helpless look on his face just now, couldn't help but slightly curl up the corners of his mouth. Everyone in the living room was infected by their laughter, except Mo Wan, who was sitting alone. Although she was still upset, the expression on her face softened inexplicably. At this moment, Li Xiaoshan suddenly turned around, pounced over and scratched the waist of the listed company president with her claws. "Stop it." She was shocked at first, then she scolded them, and then she couldn't help laughing because of the tickling. In between her unstoppable laughter, she scolded the two girls. "Ha-ha, stop it. Li Xiaoshan, you girl. Ha-ha-ha, if you tickle me again. Ha-ha-ha, I'm going to get angry. It seems as if you are very friendly when you come. How could Li Ziaoshan, who deliberately makes trouble, let her go easily? Not only did she do it alone, she also dragged Chen Jun and her best friend to join the battle and make a mess with this Mr. Mo. Falling out, said he had a halter. You had a stern face when you first arrived, but you were so domineering. Why don't you turn your face around and show us? What? After a while, the noise in the living room finally died down. Well, after such a commotion, the tense atmosphere just now disappeared, and the aggressive aura of the president of the listed group company collapsed all at once. Even her face was flushed like the two girls. This was because she was tickled by her two besties and laughed hard. Fortunately, the assistant who came over today put some light makeup on her. Otherwise, her face would have been covered in it by now. Li Ziaoshan is not just a close friend of Chen Jun, her mother is also a member of the Mo family. Because of this kinship, the two families are very close. Mo Wan has treated Li Ziaoshan as a half-daughter since she was a child. If there are any delicious food, beautiful clothes, or fun toys that Ziaoshan has a share, Ziaoshan will definitely have a share. Ziaoshan got into Mo Wan's arms and said, "Mom Mo, don't be so stern again. How about we smile again?" The nickname Mo Mama was given by her when she was acting coquettishly to Mo Wan when she was a child. Today, in order to resolve the conflict between Aunt Mo and her best friend, this girl has used all her tricks. Hearing this, Mo Wan couldn't help but look disgusted and angrily pulled away the girl's claws that were on her body. "You little girl, get out of the way. I don't want it." Li Ziaoshan showed a wicked smile on her face, raised her right hand and clenched it into a claw shape, pretending to tickle the boss again, which frightened the boss so much that his body shrank slightly. All right, I'm afraid of you. You get up first. Then you have to promise me not to get angry, then I'll get up." Mo Wan was slightly startled when she heard this, but she still went along with it and said unhappily, Okay, I promise you, get up." "I don't want to get up. The most I can promise you is not to scratch you." Li Ziaoshan snuggled in Mo Wan's arms, rubbing her head inside. "It's been a long time since I let Mommy Mo hug me. I want a hug, baby." Hearing this, Chen Jun beside him trembled inexplicably. Mo Wan laughed angrily and could only pinch the girl in his arms and scolded her with a smile. "How old are you? What's wrong? Who is not a baby? Just like your mother, you know how to act like a spoiled child. What's wrong with being a spoiled child? I'm proud of being a spoiled child. My mother said that women who act like spoiled children have the best life." While quarreling, Li Ziaoshan pulled Chen Jun, who was a little dazed beside her, over and hugged her into her warm arms. At this moment, Mo Wan couldn't help but be startled. She couldn't help but think of what these two babies looked like when they were little, and she was like this. How long ago was it that I held them together? 10 years ago, there was no such thing. Maybe more than 20 years ago. As she was thinking blankly, her hand involuntarily stroked her daughter's back. Then, the mother clearly felt her daughter's body stiffen at first, but then softened and buried her head in her mother's arms. Slowly, the whole living room fell silent, and everyone looked at this scene in a daze. At the critical moment, it was Wu's mother who reacted the fastest. She stood up quietly and patted her son. Wu Jiantao looked up with some confusion, but he saw his mother nodded at him and pointed outside. He immediately reacted and stood up and walked out quietly, pulling the assistant and bodyguard King who were standing beside him. The group quietly left the living room and came outside, leaving the entire space to them. Forehead. The warriors standing outside were standing in 2s and 3s. Some of them were thick-skinned and seemed to have not been hit hard. They were smoking cigarettes and looking at each other, while others were grimacing as they massaged the places where they had just been hit. When they saw Wu Ma and her group suddenly come out, they were so scared that they immediately retreated and walked a few steps away. Seeing that Wu Ma had no intention of attacking again, the warriors calmed down a little. Buff. Seeing this scene, life assistant Zaya Wan couldn't help laughing out loud. Forehead. These warriors suddenly felt awkward. Although they were a little unhappy, they did not dare to act rashly as this great master with superb strength was around. They could only pretend not to see it. Wu Ma ignored them and turned to look at her life assistant Zaya Wan. She enthusiastically pulled her to get close to her, asking questions like, "Where are you from? What skincare products do you use? Your skin is so good. Or do you have a boyfriend? If not, I'll introduce you to one." This enthusiasm immediately made the young assistant feel flattered. Chapter 74, I'm afraid of the consequences. Please read it again and vote for me, Tilda. Is this the martial arts master? It's not quite the same as I imagined. From childhood to adulthood, all the real martial arts masters I've seen on TV are extraordinary and majestic. When they appear on stage, they are full of special effects, and their exclusive BGM is full of all-round and no dead angles. But this kind of caring, talking to me about family matters, This is a martial arts master. The assistant didn't have time to notice how other people reacted. She was just confused. At this time, in the living room at 9:03, lying in this long-lost warm embrace, Chen Jun finally couldn't hold back, and her tears, as big as beans, flowed down and wet her mother's arms. Mo Wan had never seen her daughter cry like this since she started junior high school and high school. She was suddenly at a loss and didn't even know how to comfort her. Instinctively, I reached out and gently stroked her back. Okay, Mom is here. Chen Jun trembled all over and cried even harder. It wasn't because of the hardship she had to study and work so hard in the past few years, but because of the pain she had to endure physically and mentally during the 10 months of pregnancy and the grievances she had to endure alone. All vented out. Slurp. Chen Jun cried for who knows how long. Tired of crying, she couldn't help but sniff. Li Xiaoshan, who had just been lying in Mo Wan's arms, immediately jumped up, took the tissue on the table and handed it to her with a smirk on her face. Wait, wipe it, your snot. Don't rub it on Mommy, Mo. Alas, Mo Wan suddenly felt terrible. With a look of disgust on her face, she pulled her daughter up, took a tissue and smeared it on her daughter's crying face, while wiping it on the clothes in her arms. I say, you guys, you're really good. She was both angry and amused, and she really didn't know what to say. This laughter, noise, and crying, it just made her feel helpless. Li Xiaoshan laughed happily. In fact, when she laughed like that in the living room just now, she had a flash of inspiration and came up with this method. However, the source of the laughter was still these warriors hired by President Mo at a high price. They really played a crucial role. If it weren't for their embarrassed appearance when they escaped, there would be no origin of this laughter. Tell me about it. Mo Wan tried hard to put on a stern face, but seeing her daughter crying, she couldn't help but soften her heart. Sigh, what a sin she had committed. She must have owed her something in her previous life, which was why she tortured her like this. Xiaoshan told me before, but I still want to hear you say it yourself. By the way, her daughter had just cried so aggrievedly in her arms. She suddenly raised her eyebrows and said, Did that kid Wu Jianta bully you? I'll skin him alive. No, he didn't bully me, he treated me very well. Chen Jun waved her hands quickly and couldn't help but recall the feeling of someone biting her toes yesterday. A blush flashed across her face. Real? Mo Wan frowned slightly. Oh my, Mother Mo, this is really? Li Xiaoshan came over and helped. I've been here almost every day since Xiaojun was discharged from the hospital. Wu Jiantao did a great job. It was thanks to his martial arts skills that we were in the hospital. Otherwise, those human traffickers might have taken Daodu and Mayo Mio away. What? When he heard that his 2 cute little grandchildren were almost taken away by someone, Mr. Mo immediately got furious. What happened? Chen Jun quickly recounted the thrilling accident that had occurred at the hospital. As he was talking, Li Xiaoshan cooperated tacitly and took out her mobile phone to search for the video of Wu Jiantao chasing human traffickers on the road, which had become a hot topic. Mother Mo, look. After watching the video carefully, Mo Wan fell silent. She really didn't know this. Last night, Xiaowan was asked to collect Wu Jiantao's personal family background and information. It was probably because of the tight time that the assistant failed to collect all the information and missed this key information. It seems that he has a good talent for martial arts. She nodded. Yeah, when Wu Jiantao's father came to guide him, he seemed to say that he had reached professional level called, oh, right, Zheng Jinyu Cheng. Oh, the whole effort is successful. Upon hearing this, Mo Wan raised her eyebrows. As far as she knew, those who could reach this level in martial arts were far superior to ordinary people. Due to their strong, personal destructive power, regardless of whether they had passed professional certification or not, they had to register with the Security Bureau and might even be temporarily recruited by the Security Bureau for assistance. But at the same time, because personal strength is too strong, one cannot resort to violence lightly, even within the family. For example, domestic violence is just domestic violence for ordinary people. Even if the Security Bureau investigates, it is mostly just civil intervention. But if a warrior is suspected of domestic violence, it will at least be a criminal intervention. Regardless of the reason, the warrior involved must be subject to force supervision first. If he has very obvious faults, he can even be directly controlled. There is no way around it. The destructive power of a martial artist is too strong. Once they lose their mind, the damage they cause can be quite severe. There have been countless precedents of this in the past. The martial arts detectives in the Security Bureau are specially set up for this purpose. Next, Mo Wan listened to her daughter recounting her experiences from last August to now. Sometimes her brows were furrowed, sometimes her face was calm, and sometimes she felt distressed. In particular, the mother's eyes turned red when she heard that her daughter had survived 10 months of pregnancy all by herself. She was so angry that she reached out for him. But when she thought about how her daughter had only been out of the hospital for 2 or 3 weeks, she could only let go. You're really going to piss me off. Why didn't you tell me? If I had known you were going to have such a hard time. Why are you so stupid? Hearing this, Mo-wan couldn't hold back her anger, and at the same time she felt extremely distressed. This was her own daughter, the apple of her eye since she was little. Yes, she has always imposed her own ideas on her daughter, and has always tried to interfere in her daughter's emotional life, even though her way of loving is not quite right. But there is no doubt that Mo-wan, as a mother, is definitely one of the only 2 people in the world who loves her the most. Well, the other person is naturally her father, Chen Chu. I'm sorry, Mom. Chen Jun lowered her head and apologized sincerely. Although Mom had done something wrong in the past, she did do something wrong on impulse that time. Seeing her daughter apologize, Mo-wan's anger finally turned into heartache. No wonder she cried so aggrievedly in my arms just now. My daughter must have had a very hard time during her 10 months of pregnancy. Especially in the last few months, she must have had trouble eating and sleeping, moving around, sitting, or lying down. If she had accidentally fallen or bumped into something, just thinking about it, the mother felt as if her heart was being tightly gripped with fear. Chapter 75 is a little bit wrong. Tilda, please read and vote Tilda. Next time this happens, I will. She was so angry that she wanted to scold her daughter again. But then she remembered that it was because of her past attitude that caused her daughter to do such a stupid thing. So she had to grab her daughter's hand and said, almost begging for mercy, I beg you, if you encounter any difficulties in the future, don't do something as stupid as this time, okay? Who hasn't been young, even though she was the head of a listed group company, when she was raising Xiaojun alone in the early years. Her husband Chen Chu had not been home for several years due to the nature of his work. Once, she broke down and took her child to her husband's previous workplace, crying and making a scene, saying that she would ask the company leaders to return her husband to her no matter what. That commotion back then was quite a big deal. Mom has encountered many obstacles in the past, but as long as I think of your dad and you, I still grit my teeth and persevere. Promise, Mom, that you will never be so stupid in the future. You now have 2 babies, a dad and a mom. No matter what happens, think more about the people around you. Mother Mo is right, there is also Wu Jiantao. Li Xiaoshan added fuel to the fire, earning a roll of the eyes from Mo-wan. Chen Jun nodded. Well, I won't do that anymore. The communication between mother and daughter this time was completely different from the past few years. Although one of them went to extremes, resulting in today's irreversible situation, the other party finally realized the huge problems she had in communicating with her daughter in the past. Thinking of this, Mo-wan couldn't help but glance at Li Xiaoshan, who was laughing heartily beside her. It was all thanks to this girl. Otherwise, the communication between her and her daughter would never have been able to thaw so quickly, and they would have been relieved of each other. There is one more thing I want to ask you. Her face turned serious, and she looked at her daughter seriously. I just heard you say that you've only been with him for less than a month. In other words, you don't have much emotional foundation with him right now. Forehead. Chen Jun was stunned and turned to look at Li Xiaoshan beside him. It seemed wrong to say that there was no such thing at all, but it also seemed that it was not the case. Subconsciously, she recalled the moment yesterday when Wu Jiantao held her feet, carefully trimmed her nails, and massaged the soles and tops of her feet with great concentration. Originally, Chen Jun thought that pedicure and massage were nothing special, but when she met him, she found that someone seemed to have a special liking and enthusiasm for her feet. This guy. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but feel shy. She wondered if she would agree to this guy's request for a pedicure or massage next time, or if she would agree to it, or if she would agree to it. As he thought about it, there was something wrong with the expression on Chen Jun's face. My best friend and mother were watching. Something is wrong. Mo-wan leaned close to Li Xiaoshan's ear and asked her in an inaudible voice, Are you sure that Xiaojun and Wu Jiantao have been together for less than a month? I'm sure. Then this. Mr. Mo almost thought his daughter had been swapped. Why did he look at her expression? A bit silly. The independent, strong, and intelligent daughter of his past was replaced. Not to mention her, even her best friend Li Xiaoshan felt puzzled. How? Why did it suddenly become like this? When exactly? She thought carefully about the past few days. That's right. Could it be that Wu Jiantao did something unspeakable to our little Jun yesterday? Hey. Thinking of this, she couldn't help but stretched out her hand and waved it in front of Chen Jun. Wake up, answer our questions. Coming back to her senses, Chen Jun realized her own misconduct. Her orchid-like cheeks couldn't help but blush slightly. Then she answered her mother's question. It seems. Yes, there shouldn't be any right. Seems should. Mo want. How could she not know about her daughter's condition? Although she might not have fallen in love with Wu Jiangtao in such a short period of time, it was obvious that their relationship was no longer that simple. At this moment, the feeling in her heart was really, it's beyond words. For more than 20 years, I have carefully nurtured and cultivated this cabbage with all my heart and effort, and it has finally grown into a rare treasure. But now, send it out, or the kind that offers half price, and buy one get two free. As she thought about it, Mo Wan felt unwell again and felt extremely depressed. Who can I blame? It's Wu Jiangtao who's the weirdo. It's unreasonable. After all, it was his daughter who took the initiative. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. The key point is that if he hadn't been interfering in her love life in the past few years, this girl wouldn't have endured to the limit and impulsively caused such a bitter fruit for herself. But I still have to pinch my nose and eat it. Who can I blame? Mo Wan sighed and shook her head. She could only suppress the discomfort in her heart and looked at her daughter seriously and said, So what are your plans next? Are you going to get a marriage certificate with him? I haven't thought that far. Chen Jun blushed. Mr. Mo couldn't help but hold his forehead, trying to suppress his urge to lose his temper, and repeatedly hypnotized himself in his heart. This is my own child, born after 10 months of pregnancy, a piece of my beloved flesh and blood. Li Xiaoshan was so shocked that she quickly came over to grab Chen Jun and rolled her eyes at her. Are you stupid? How can you talk like that? Well, Mom Mo, you can't blame Xiaojun for this. After all, she has never been in a relationship before, let alone getting married and having children. Now that she is faced with this situation, she doesn't know how to deal with it. It's normal. She rolled her eyes. Mother Mo, how about this? You take out a check for 100 million yuan, throw it in front of Wu Jiangtao and say, I'll give you 100 million yuan, and you leave my daughter. Let's see if he is the kind of person who is greedy for money. Mr. Mo, she slapped the girl who was making a joke in annoyance. Have you watched too many TV dramas? And 100 million. That? Li Xiaoshan's mind suddenly changed, and she pulled Chen Jun and laughed. Then Mom Mo must want Xiaojun and Jiang Tao to get a marriage certificate. After all, they already have a baby, so they can't be without a legitimate status. This will also protect you legally. This statement was quite reliable, but Mo Wan has still rolled her eyes when she heard it. In this situation, if getting the marriage certificate could solve the problem of her daughter's lifelong happiness, she would immediately ask for it without hesitation. But the key is, getting a marriage certificate and having a happy marriage are definitely not the same thing. Otherwise, why would this chairman of a listed group company, no matter how busy he was, have been trying so hard to find young talent suitable for his daughter during the years when she was in college and working? Are you disliked by your daughter? Chapter 76. What a big tone. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. Being well matched is just the basis. The most important thing is character. As long as the person has good character, she can even lower the standard of being well matched. That's right, in the eyes of this mother, no matter how rich the man is, he is not as rich as she is. To give her daughter happiness. This is what she cares about most. Everything else comes second. Getting a marriage certificate, from a legal perspective, actually protects the economic interests of both parties. As for the emotional aspects, a perfect marriage law cannot and will not interfere with them. Otherwise, in this society with information explosion and rapid development, the divorce rate would not have hit new highs year after year. As for the economic benefits, don't be ridiculous. Does Mo Wan's daughter still need to rely on that one document for protection? What's more, if the two of them really get married now, the one who will actually benefit will definitely be Wu Jiangtao, rather than her daughter Chen Jun. Because the most crucial point is, Chen Jun married, as the head of Fei Yun Group and the actual person in charge of the Mo family, and her husband Chen choose status in the academic world, even if the couple did not give their daughter any dowry or assets. Wu Jiangtao's gains were considerable just by being the son-in-law of the Chen family, not to mention other things. If this were true, wouldn't the people in her circle laugh their heads off? During the long silence, this legendary businesswoman thought about it, and decided that it would be best to let her daughter and Wu Jiangtao maintain their current status for the time being. But this without any name or status will have a very bad influence on my daughter, especially now that there is such a commotion on the internet. The grandfathers of both the Mo and Chen families are asking about it. She shook her head a little helplessly. The Chen family is easy to deal with, but the Mo family is large and powerful, and the relationships within the family are relatively complicated and very difficult to deal with. Just like at the last shareholders' meeting, those major shareholders who were confronted by President Mo and didn't dare to say a word, most of them were from the Mo family. Well, those different voices against her at the last shareholders' meeting were made up by people from other factions in the Mo family. After listening to Mo Wan's story about the Mo and Chen families, Li Ziaoshan was a little dumbfounded. Is it so troublesome? Mother Mo, this won't work, and that won't work either, that. Okay, let me think about this. Having worked her way up from the bottom of Fei Yun Group to where she is today, Ms. Mo has seen all kinds of storms. The difficulties her daughter's current situation has brought her are far less than those in the past, so she quickly adjusted her mood and looked at the two big babies in front of her with a bad temper. Mom, I'm sorry. Chen Jun looked at her and realized that the troubles her mother encountered at home were no less than her own. Okay, I also bear half of the responsibility, Mo Wan said unhappily. As a female legend in the business world, she is naturally not an ordinary woman, and she also realized that she was wrong. If she makes a mistake, she should admit it, instead of admitting it and refusing to change. If she is really that twisted, it is impossible for her to turn Fei Yun into a listed group company step by step. Mother Mo, what should we do with Ziaoshan and Jiang Tao now? Li Ziaoshan asked again. You get out and let them in. This time, Mo Wan did not express her opinion easily, but asked the girl to go outside and call Wu Jiangtao and Wu's mother in. As soon as the two families sat down, Mr. Mo's first words made the atmosphere, which had been relaxed before, tense again. To be honest, you are far from the standard of a son-in-law in my mind. Upon hearing this, Chen Jun suddenly became anxious, fearing that she would say something extreme. When she was about to say something, she saw her mother turned her head and glanced at her calmly. Only then did her daughter suppress the urge to speak. After the long talk, the mother and daughter had a rare tacit understanding that they had never had before. At the critical moment, Chen Jun finally did not break this newly established and fragile tacit understanding. If it weren't for my daughter's wishes, I wouldn't want her and the two babies to stay here any longer. Mo Wan glanced at her daughter and said, whether it's the Chen family or the Mo family, we can provide her and her two babies with a very good life. But she wants to stay just because you are the biological father of the babies, and she wants to give you a chance to fulfill your fatherly responsibilities. Mo Wan paused here. This sentence actually has another meaning. Maybe Wu Jiangtao didn't hear it, but Wu's mother heard it very clearly. I won't ask you to get married, and I don't care where you will go in the future or how far you can go. I only care about the future of my daughter and two babies. I've read your information. Your experiences since childhood and your academic performance at M University are all very mediocre. Even when you were a child, your martial arts talent was not outstanding. Even though Li Ziaoshan just told me that you have achieved great success in your overall strength, this is still far from the standard in my mind. I want to know now, what plans do you have for the future? Looking at Wu Jiangtao, who was lost in thought, Mo Wan added fuel to the fire and said calmly, or, do you want to prove to me that you have enough ability to stay with the two babies? Actually, after a long silence, Wu Jiangtao finally spoke. I am just an ordinary, inconspicuous person. I am not good at studying, and I have not had much talent in martial arts since I was a child. I have never had any goals. I just follow the crowd and go with the flow until... At this point, he looked up at Chen Jun beside him and said, I unexpectedly met your daughter, and now we have two babies. To be honest, I don't know how far I can go in the future, but you just said that you want me to prove myself. I think it's useless to say it. Just like I say now, I am sure I can become a star warrior within 2 years. You will definitely think I am crazy. How? Listen to what this means. Mo Wan raised her eyebrows slightly. From being an ordinary martial artist to entering the professional level of whole strength, there is a threshold. This threshold can be reached with enough desperate efforts, but to go further, that is not something that can be achieved by desperate efforts. It requires sufficient physical talent and understanding. Nowadays, a master who has reached the star level would definitely be considered a top-notch master in the martial arts world hundreds of years ago. As the world changes, martial arts are also developing. Nowadays, there are many more masters who have entered the star level. In China, there are at least several hundred of them, if not 1,000. Even though Wu Ma easily took care of one of them today, in fact, every star martial artist is still an invaluable talent to China. Such elites can play a very important or even core role whether they are placed in the military, security system, or other fields. What a pity. Nowadays, no matter how talented a martial arts genius is, he can only achieve full strength at the age of 14 or 15 at most and enter the professional level. Going a step further, he can achieve the transformation of light and dark strength, and the combination of hardness and softness to become a star-level martial artist. The current youngest age is 34. Wu Jiantao's elder cousin Yuan Huang is 36 this year. He only reached this level when he was 35. Because of this, he was able to become the captain of the criminal investigation team of the Q City Police Department. He is the youngest among the criminal investigation team leaders in the entire M province, whose average age is 42. His future prospects are limitless. Chapter 77. One word fight. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. Hearing this, Mo Wan was a little speechless for a moment, and couldn't help but look at this boy again to see if he was bragging. Because the martial arts masters she had met in the past gave her the impression that they were steady and calm, not happy with things or sad with themselves, and rarely showed such a sharp edge. There were those rare times when it happened, but most of the time it was because they were young and ignorant, arrogant, and had no idea of their own capabilities. Thinking of this, Mo Wan couldn't help but turn her head to look at Wu Ma beside her, but saw her smiling slightly, as if she didn't care at all about her son's brilliance. Wu Jiantao slowly stood up and looked at King Ai, who was standing behind Mo Wan. He was wearing a neat suit and had a solemn aura. 100 years ago, a martial arts master went north to the Central Plains to compete with the masters of the martial arts world. He said something that has been passed down to this day. He said, "Effort, 2 words, 1 horizontal and 1 vertical. Yes, standing. Wrong, fall down. Only those who stand have the right to speak." In the past, Wu Jiantao had no talent for muscles and bones, no path in martial arts, and no future. He was originally lost among the crowd. Now that he has great strength, he naturally wants to fight. Not only fight, he must strive to shine brightly. Mo Wan couldn't help but follow his gaze and looked back at the bodyguard Xiao Yi beside her. Before she could ask, she saw Wu Jiantao looking at him with a fierce fighting spirit. "We just fought to a draw. I wonder if you would be willing to teach me something." King Ai did not answer this question, but turned to look at Mo Wan. Seeing her nod, he slowly said, "Okay." Even though the two had only exchanged 1 move just now, Wu Jiantao judged in that instant that the strength of this young man, who looked to be in his 30s, had almost completed the transformation from light to dark, and was about to enter the realm of perfect harmony where his muscles and bones were in unison. From whole to round, the power is smooth, and hardness and softness can be transformed freely in an instant. Although the destructive power has not changed qualitatively, it has widened the gap. The more critical thing is the control of power. A warrior who has reached this level has entered a state of meticulousness, able to release and retract and hurt others without being seen. An ordinary warrior with full strength can never be a match for a star-level warrior. This time, King Ai temporarily left the brigade and returned to the country. His dark energy was already formed, and he was only 1 step away from reaching the state where light and dark were at his will, and muscles and bones were in harmony, and becoming a star-level warrior. A few months ago, he broke through the bottleneck in a life-and-death situation and jumped over the dragon gate. Now, he is in the stage of transforming into a dragon. The 2 of them were evenly matched just now, so they took this opportunity to determine who was better. Looking at this young man who was only 24 years old and his high-spirited attitude, Mo Wan didn't feel contempt or absurdity, but an inexplicable sense of trembling emerged in his heart. She naturally didn't know that this was a battle and competition of momentum between warriors. At a time like this, being introverted and hiding one's shortcomings will only make oneself become the inferior one. This is not a momentary dispute of emotions, but a confrontation of momentum. It is naturally impossible for the 2 of them to compete against each other at home, even if the space is large enough. The destructive power of both Wu Jiantao and King Ai is already amazing enough. If he chooses to start here, he will have to prepare to renovate the house. They went downstairs and came to a relatively remote open space at the innermost part of the garden community. I told you not to follow me, but you insisted on following me." Looking at her daughter, who was dressed tightly, Mo Wan was full of anger. In her opinion, women in confinement must not go out. But Chen Jun's firm attitude just now about coming over even forced her to compromise. Chen Jun opened his mouth, but didn't know what to say. Wu Ma came over to help. Xiaojun is also worried about Jiang Tao. "It's okay. There is no wind outside now and the temperature is suitable. Just dress warmly and avoid the wind." Mr. Mo glanced at her calmly. "Am I familiar with you?" Wu Ma pretended not to notice her gaze and pulled Chen Jun to stand in the pavilion affectionately. "Come, Xiaojun, sit here with me, and you won't be hurt if anything unexpected happens. I am not familiar with you, but I am very familiar with your daughter." Mr. Mo. In the open space, Wu Jiantao had already walked into the field, and the bodyguard Zyro Yi also took off his suit jacket and walked steadily in front of him. He slowly sank down and raised his hands. Wu Jiantao also started his boxing stance. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. Suddenly, Wu Jiantao attacked without warning, and he took a step forward, punched the center line, and went towards King Ai's front with incredible swiftness. So fast, King Ai's pupils shrank instantly, and he raised his left hand to block. At the same time, his right fist passed under his left elbow and swung out suddenly, like a hammer. This is the hammer technique of Tai Chi. Bang, bang, bang. At this moment, the two men exchanged several moves with their hands, followed by a fight with their legs and feet. The movements were so swift and fierce that Mo Wan, Li Xiaoshan, and the others could not see them clearly. Among the people watching the fight, only Wu Ma could see them, and she could even clearly see through the flaws in the two people's attacks. As soon as the action started, Wu Ma knew the result in her mind, but she remained calm and watched with interest the worry on Chen Jun's face beside her. The two fought back and forth for several rounds, and King Ai suddenly performed the Yaoshan Baguazhang, and his body moved around Wu Jiantao at an incredibly swift speed. His fists and feet instantly became like poisonous snakes, unexpected and very tricky. Bang, 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 bang. After several rounds of counterattacking moves, Wu Jiantao adopted a steady and cautious tactic to respond to ever-changing situations with the same strategy. Suddenly, he threw an elbow to block King Ai's sudden attack, turned around, took a half step forward with his left foot, stomped his right foot on the ground, and thrust his right fist forward through his dantian. Half-step collapse. With a teeth-grinding collision sound, King Ai's snow-white shirt burst apart, and the whole person retreated several steps backwards. On this side, Wu Jiantao could not help but retreat 2 steps. The winner has been decided. King Ai, who was forced to retreat, showed no emotion on his face. He casually tore off the sleeve of his right arm, revealing a slightly reddish skin. Immediately, he turned around, put on his suit jacket again, and said slowly, "In martial arts, I am not as good as you. In life and death, you are not as good as me. A competition is just a competition. On the surface, there seems to be a difference in strength, but it is like an exam. The competition between the two sides mainly has 2 aspects. The two sides fought back and forth with each other, and more importantly, a confrontation of strength. During this fight, King Ai was very surprised to find that this guy named Wu Jiantao had a domineering strength that was much stronger than himself. He had never seen or heard of this before, and he couldn't understand it. The opponent was obviously younger than him, so how did he cultivate such strength? Incredible! Is there anyone in this world whose physical talent is so strong? In the previous sparring, after the first few rounds of sharp confrontation, King Ai's hands and feet were sore that he could not resist. He had to use the body movements of the 8 diagrams palm and the hammer method of Tai Chi to fight back. The opponent's strength was so strong that he could not use the advantages of the light and dark transformation of strength and the combination of hardness and softness. He had to fight with strength against strength. At this moment, all the hidden power, hardness and softness are just a joke in the face of the absolute crushing force. By the way, a reader pointed out a problem in Chapter 76. I took a look and made some adjustments. Let the protagonist speak more naturally instead of being forced. Chapter 78, Prodigy. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. Fortunately, the moves of this young man named Wu Jiantao were too immature, and he obviously had not experienced the test of life and death. On the other hand, King Ai's moves were quite tricky and sharp, and every punch and kick made Wu Jiang's defense very uncomfortable. If the two were to fight a life and death duel this time, there was a high probability that Wu Jiantao would be the one to fall. But during the fight, Wu Jiantao quickly realized his problem. With the advantage of being stronger, he took a steady approach and didn't leave too many loopholes for his opponent. Until the end, when his opponent's strength was exhausted, he seized the opportunity to win with a half-step collapse punch. "Thank you for your advice." He looked at the bodyguard and thanked him sincerely. During this competition, he learned a lot of valuable experience in actual combat. In terms of actual combat, Wu Ma had not given him much guidance these days. Actual combat, the most crucial point is naturally to gain experience from actual combat. In fact, since she recently taught her son martial arts, Wu Ma had long realized that he needed to start practicing actual combat. Otherwise, it would be like sitting on a mountain of treasures but not knowing how to enter. However, with her son and Chen Jun in this situation, and 2 babies to take care of, she had no time to do anything for the time being. Now it seems that this kid's practical training must be put on the agenda, no matter what. In this competition, if Wu Jiantao had more practical experience, he wouldn't have had to fight for so long before he defeated his opponent. You know, there is a saying among the strong and weak warriors that the one who is one step higher is infinitely stronger. Normally, Wu Jiantao would be able to defeat his opponent in less than 3 moves with his obviously stronger strength, but judging from the result, he was only slightly better. After taking a glance at the daughter who followed Wu Ma to see Wu Jiantao, Mo Wan suppressed her unhappiness and asked a question to the bodyguard Xiao Yi who had returned to her. How about it? A genius. After a moment of silence, the tall young man who looked to be in his early 30s had to give his own evaluation. Like I just said, he lacks only practical experience. Apart from this, he is inferior to me in other aspects. I lose. Mo Wan remained unmoved and continued to ask. He just said that within 2 years he can become a star warrior. Is that possible? Feeling the doubt in her words, King I couldn't help but frowned, and after a moment of hesitation, he said, let me put it this way, I can become a star warrior within half a year, and he said 2 years. I think he is too modest. Hearing this, Mr. Mo was slightly startled. He couldn't help but turn his head to look at Wu Jiantao, who was obediently accepting Wu Ma's scolding. This kid. If he has such talent, why has he never shown it in the past 10 years? It was no wonder that Mo Wan was full of suspicion towards Wu Jiantao at the beginning of the conversation. This kid's past resume was really too mediocre, but his performance today was really beyond her expectations. Next, in the communication between the two families, Mo Wan was not as easy to talk to as imagined. Although this CEO Mo no longer had the tough and overbearing attitude she had at the beginning, that was only relative to Chen Jun and Li Xiaorashan. To Wu Ma and Wu Jiantao, she immediately became calm and rational. However, Wu Ma is not a vegetarian either. After all, she was a wandering warrior in the past, and she honed her skills step by step to become a great master. Maybe she cannot win the argument with the group president in the negotiation, but her attitude is quite clear. Except for taking the 2 babies away, everything else is negotiable. After all, she is also a martial arts master who has seen a lot of ups and downs. She has seen a lot of what rich people are like. During this communication, what Wu Ma was most worried about was not that Chen Jun would be taken away by Mo Wan. As long as she was there, and as long as Chen Jun didn't want to, no one could forcibly take her daughter-in-law away. What she was most worried about was that Mo Wan proposed to take the 2 babies away, using the excuse that the Wu family did not have the ability and conditions to properly raise the 2 babies. The Chen family would take the 2 babies away when they were 1 year old or even 1 month old, allowing them to enjoy a better material life and the best educational resources in the world. It's true that when it comes to children's education, whether it is Mo Wan, who is in charge of the Mo family, or Chen Jun of the Chen family, they can undoubtedly give the 2 little babies the best conditions in the world. Once Mo Wan made this request, it would be difficult for the Wu family to refuse. After all, Mo Wan was not determined to reject this marriage, but she was willing to relax and maintain the status quo for the time being to see what would happen next. She kept the status quo for the time being. In addition to seeing how Wu Jiantao would perform next, she also wanted to see if Chen Jun and Wu Jiantao really got along and whether they could continue on smoothly. If not, Mo Wan would definitely not allow Wu Jiantao to bully her daughter and would definitely take her daughter back by force. By then, the Wu family would have no reason to stop her. But what surprised Wu Ma was that Mo Wan did not raise the issue of the future education of the 2 babies right now. Nor did she use this as an excuse to suggest that they go to the Chen family after the babies are 1 month old or 1 week old. Wu Ma didn't know whether Chen Jun said anything in this or whether Mr. Mo had other considerations. Since the other party didn't say anything on this issue, she naturally wouldn't touch on it, but tacitly didn't mention it. Apart from this aspect, this communication can definitely be considered successful for the Wu family. On the balcony of Yunlu Garden 903, there was no wind, and the afternoon sun was warm. Oh, Grandma, give me a hug. Dowdu in Mo Wan's arms opened his clean and bright big eyes, staring at her curiously with an unstoppable curiosity on his face. At this moment, Mr. Mo, who was usually domineering and strong, couldn't help but feel his heart melt. He held the baby carefully and couldn't let go of the baby, and couldn't help but bend down and kiss the baby's cute face. Dowdu subconsciously reached out his hand and scratched, then opened his mouth but no sound came out. Well, because they are twins, both babies are smaller than a single baby, so they naturally don't start vocalizing that early. However, even ordinary babies will only make some babbling sounds when they are 1 month old. On the other side, Wu Ma was holding Meow Meow, and the 2 of them were on the balcony, basking in the sun with their baby while chatting. In the living room, Chen Jun watched this scene with some curiosity. Wu Jiantao, who was sitting next to her, saw that she looked a little strange, so he asked again, "What's wrong?" She was stunned for a moment, then smiled softly. "It's okay. I never dared to imagine before that my mom could sit with your mom like this and chat together." "Oh." Wu Jiantao also turned around to look at his mother and Mr. Mo outside the balcony and said with emotion, "I didn't expect that either." "Hey, hey." Beside her, Li Xiaoshan put down her phone and said proudly, "Then you should thank me. If it weren't for my wit." As she spoke, she smiled evilly and stretched out her hand, clenching it into a claw-like shape. "Aunt Mo can't be so easy to talk to all of a sudden. Let me tell you something. This book is hitting Sanjiang this week. Tilda Xiaonan is here to ask everyone for a monthly ticket and recommendation ticket for following the book. Tilda following the book is the key tilde. Of course, I still sincerely hope that everyone can give more objective and pertinent opinions. The direction of this book depends not only on me, but also on everyone tilde. Finally, what determines how far a book can go is never the recommendation position, but my planning, ideas, and design for this book. There are so many failures in Sanjiang. Well, the grapes must be sour and not sweet at all. I believe in myself, gather my strength, and wait for this book to develop in the future, because the babies have not started to grow up yet. The dad part has not yet begun, and the future protagonist's martial arts are also closely related to the growth of the babies. What emotion can be more powerful than protection? Fatherly love, motherly love, and the love of a mother for her child, the three are intertwined. The martial arts of martial arts are about stopping wars, and even more about protecting. From here, you can also see the general direction and outline of the book in the future. Please look forward to it. Chapter 79, Two Families Please Read and Vote for Me Tilda. Speaking of this, Chen Jun had to admit that if it weren't for Li Xiaoshan's magical intervention between her and her mother today, the mother and daughter would definitely not have been able to calm down like they did now. Also, Wu Ma played a crucial role in this. If she hadn't blocked those warriors, there would have been no room for maneuver. As for Wu Jiantao, Chen Jun looked at him apologetically. During the conversation between the two families in the afternoon, the person in front of him could only accompany him, standing at attention and acting respectful. Stand at attention when you are beaten. Although he was quite innocent, he had to sacrifice his life before he could win the beauty. Wu Jiantao was not stupid, so he naturally stood with Chen Jun and endured the criticism from the two mothers. After temporarily solving the major issues of their son Wu Jiantao and daughter Chen Jun, both Yu Wenqian and Mo Wan breathed a sigh of relief and settled their worries again. And in their subsequent communication, they perfectly demonstrated the saying that there is no acquaintance without fighting. When taking care of the babies, Wu Ma carefully taught Ms. Mo how to change the diapers of the two babies. She is indeed a strong woman. Although she was clumsy at the beginning, she soon became very skilled. The last time I changed diapers was when Xiaoran was a child. While changing Miao's diaper, Mr. Mo said with emotion, "In those years, my husband's work at the Research Institute was a bit special. He didn't even come home for several years. I was alone with Xiaoran, and that was how it was." 2. Speaking of this, Wu Ma also felt the same way and said, "It's better now. After getting married, even if the elderly don't help take care of the baby, you can still hire a confinement nanny. After all, no matter how difficult it is, it will only be a few months. Learn from the confinement nanny, and when the baby is older, it will be easier for them to take care of it. The young people around me are not like this. You might as well kill him if you let him raise the child by himself." Mo Wan shook his head and laughed. Most of them only care about themselves and basically don't care about the family affairs. After giving birth to children, they always like to run away, leaving the children either to the nanny or to the grandparents. The social classes of the two were different, so naturally the young people around them were also different. For example, most of the people around Wu Ma were young men and women who were struggling. On the other hand, most of the people around Mo Wan were from wealthy families, so their lifestyles and ways of dealing with marriage and raising children were naturally quite different. These two mothers have completely different life trajectories, and their ways of thinking and insights are also very different. But they have one thing in common, that is, they have both achieved levels in their respective fields that are difficult for ordinary people to achieve. One is the chairman of a company that has dominated China's business world and built a manufacturing company into an internationally renowned listed group company. One is a martial arts master who once traveled the world and reached the level of Hua Jin in martial arts, with a strength that can almost be called inhuman. Based on this alone, both of them admired each other's achievements in their respective fields. However, at the beginning of the chat, they both communicated with the stereotypes they had seen on TV screens in the past, which led to many jokes. One thought that the food, clothing, and other necessities of a CEO of a listed company must be from international brands. The other thought that martial arts masters must be able to jump several stories high like they do on TV. However, no matter how awkward it was, when Wu Ma and Chen Ma started talking, they would definitely have no shortage of topics. Especially when it comes to stinky men, they have a lot to talk about. On this side, there are comments like, "Your husband can actually cook. My husband even needs the maid to wash his underwear for him. He just runs to the research institute every day, often working overtime until 11 or 12 o'clock and never spends time with me." While on the other side, there are comments like, "Cooking. It's just measuring water to cook white rice and frying an egg. My husband is the same. He just practices boxing all day long, so what if he is good at boxing? The house here is a mess day after day. He doesn't even take the initiative to clean up. Some time ago, he was cooking and even exploded the rice cooker." Yawned. Dad Wu and Dad Chen in the other two places sneezed several times in succession. As the two families came into contact and got to know each other, they realized that neither of them was an immortal, but just an ordinary person in this mundane world. Life is full of bumps and quarrels, and well, they are all part of ordinary people. The two shared things that were new to each other. One talked about companies and the international situation, while the other talked about the martial arts that ordinary people can practice and how to strengthen their bodies and stay young. When it comes to this, Mo Wan was no longer sleepy. She became more and more excited chatting with Wu Ma for the whole afternoon, as if they had met each other too late. Next, Wu Ma heard that this girl actually had insomnia, so she personally used her qi to massage her meridians, and also taught Mo Wan how to sit in meditation to cultivate her body and mind. This scene surprised Wu Jiangtao and the others at first, and was beyond their expectations, but gradually they got used to it. I can only say that the fate between women is incredibly wonderful. Just like the relationship between Mo Wan and her sister, Li Xiaoshan's mother, is not very good, and they are still sisters. That's right, Mo Wan just couldn't stand her sister's weak and crybaby nature since she was a child, and her tendency to act like a spoiled brat whenever she grew up. However, facing Li Xiaoshan, who was also good at acting like a spoiled child and was even better than her attitude took a 180-degree turn. She had doted on this girl since she was a child. Otherwise, Li Xiaoshan would definitely not have dared to do that at noon. Before he knew it, the sun had slowly set down the mountain. Night had begun to fall, and Wu Jiangtao walked into the kitchen and began to prepare dinner for today. "Stay and sit at a table with us. It will be more fun with more people." Looking at this cute assistant, Wu Ma smiled like an auntie. What a nice girl. Today she learned from her chat that she is still single. What a pity. Think about it, most of the disciples in my martial arts school are still single. If there is a chance, I can introduce them to each other. Even if it doesn't work out, it's good to be friends. No need to prepare my portion. Xiaoi and I will go back to the hotel later. When Wu Ma invited her to stay for dinner, Assistant Xiao Huan was a little flattered and waved her hands repeatedly. "Thank you, Auntie. We can just eat at the hotel." Since she didn't stay, King I naturally didn't stay either. Well, Mr. Mo had previously instructed him to be responsible for investigating Chen Mei, and now things have come to a head. Chapter 80, come to the door, please read and vote for me, Tilda. The time goes back to 2 or 3 hours ago, around 4 or 5 in the afternoon. Uncle, I still have work to do in Q City. I've already missed a lot of things from yesterday until now. Can't you just be merciful and let me go? Walking on the pedestrian street of the university town in City F, Yuan Huang couldn't help but cover his face. The misery he felt was beyond words. No, you can't leave. Although he didn't know why his elder sister suddenly broke the appointment, he had promised her that he would bring his eldest nephew to the blind date, so Yuan Long certainly couldn't let him go easily. There was no other way. Yuan Huang could only treat this trip to City F as a vacation. Well, yesterday his good uncle went directly to the director and asked for leave for him in person. "So where are you going now?" Yuan Huang was a little curious as he looked at the youthful and energetic young people on the pedestrian street. "Nothing, just making some extra money." Yuan Long smiled gently, walked along the pedestrian street, and soon arrived at the east gate of M University. Drop. Suddenly he pressed the Bluetooth headset on his ear as if someone called him and nodded immediately. "Xiao Qi, you're great. You locked onto the target so quickly. I'll give you a big chicken drumstick later." "Uncle Master, you are joking. I heard that the reward for this mission is quite high. Just give some money as a token of your appreciation." Who said that? Who said that? Well, we are uncle and nephew, so why would we talk about money? Don't you think so? Then, uncle, have you ever heard another sentence? What? Relationships cost money. The other meaning of this sentence is very clear. You are the uncle. Is it really okay to be so stingy to your nephew? Yuan Long was speechless for a moment, and then he chuckled. Sure, Zioki, your talking skills have improved, but I don't know how your leg skills are. Okay, I'll give you 30% of it, okay? Hey, thank you so much, uncle. After registering at the guard post at the east gate of M University, the two of them entered the campus unimpeded. Yu Wenwang, not knowing what mission his uncle had taken, frowned and reminded him, Uncle, this is a university and there are students and teachers here. What mission do you have here? Hey, keep it a secret for now. The nephew was too lazy to talk nonsense. He thought his uncle was sensible in his actions. If he really did something inappropriate, he, the captain of the Security Bureau team, would be able to stop him and prevent him from doing anything excessive. By the way, you have a holographic law enforcement device with you, right? I brought it. Hearing this, Yuan Huang's heart sank. Uncle, what on earth are you going to do? Then turn on your body camera. Today, we need your help to solve a case. As he was talking here, he saw his uncle walking up to a tall, handsome, and good-looking M University student. Looking at the two people who suddenly appeared in front of him, Chen Mei was stunned, and some doubts emerged on his face. But he saw that the man in front had a stern brow and a terrible pressure was crushing him. At the same time, he took out his ID from his arms and showed it directly in front of him. Chen Mei, I am a war police officer from the F-City Security Bureau. You are suspected of being involved in the crimes of a certain criminal group in the southern continent. Please come with us. Almost at the same time, two young men appeared in front of Hong Junhong, the eldest son of the university, who had just sat down and taken a few bites of food in the first cafeteria of the university. The Security Bureau is an organization that specifically governs the martial arts world. Unless martial artists in China do not seek fame or profit and always live in seclusion and independence, the personal information of martial artists above the whole strength level will eventually come here. Among them, those above the star level will have the affiliated identity of a Security Bureau war police, as long as they have been recruited for assistance by any official agency and passed the Security Bureau. Moreover, this identity is not temporary. Both Chen Mei and Hong Jun, who followed him, had thought about the situation where people from the Security Bureau would come to their door, and they had even made relevant psychological assumptions for this. Therefore, when he saw Yuan Long and the others appear in front of him, although Chen Mei was shocked, he immediately calmed down. He went over what he had done before in his mind, and after making sure that he did not leave any traces, he immediately calmed down. Maybe you can find out who Hong Jun is, but Chen Mei is clean and did nothing. As for whether Hong Jun would bite him, he was not worried. This guy could not stand the interrogation and gave himself up, but where is the evidence? Without evidence, what can you do to me? Plus, my family will definitely take action. Although it will affect my future, at most I will just have to leave M University. At worst, I can go to study in the United States, which is another way out. Unfortunately, it is not as good as before. In the past, only top students and excellent students chose to study abroad. After returning to China, with the blessing of high-level academic qualifications and the help of their families, they reached the peak of their lives. Now only those who are not good at studying or have caused trouble in China will go to study in the United States, the Maple Leaf Country, or Austria, which is south of the southern continent. Now it is no longer a matter of exporting to domestic sales. With the rise of China's economy and the revival of ancient martial arts, the domestic environment and people's consciousness are further awakening, and the stereotypes of the past are disappearing rapidly. However, when Yuan Long showed his ID and revealed his identity, Chen Mei couldn't help but be stunned. Security Bureau. What is that? For a student union president, as well informed as he is, this relevant department, which rarely appears in the public eye, was the first time he had heard of it. Chen Mei was still calm and asked tentatively, No, you found the wrong person, right? Are you Chen Mei? Seeing that the boy looked calm, Yuan Long became interested and looked him up and down. I am. Oh, that's right. He subconsciously reached out to stroke his beard, but he only touched a smooth piece of skin. You are involved with a dark brigade in the southern continent and are suspected of endangering national security. Now please come with us. Chen Mei. No, I have been living and studying in China since I was a child. I have only traveled to the United States and Europe during the winter and summer vacations. I have never been to the southern continent. How did I come into contact with a certain dark brigade? Dark troop. Although I don't know what this thing is, I know from the name that this brigade is not a good thing. Could it be that someone is framing me? After taking a deep breath, Chen Mei calmed down. Okay, I'll go with you, but you can't alarm the academy. Can. Chapter 81. Unexpected gains. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. From what this security officer said, it's clear that this incident has nothing to do with the cyber violence. If that's the case, then it's fine. As for the Southern Continent Brigade, I have never even heard of it. How can it be related to me? Thinking of this, Chen Mei immediately calmed down and began to think about what was going on. On the side, Yu Wenwang, who had turned on the holographic law enforcement device, looked puzzled. What on earth is my uncle doing? Didn't he say he was going to help me solve a case? Why is the brigade from the Southern Continent involved again? The brigade is a new international organization that has emerged in the past 100 or 200 years with the continuous development of world economy and science and technology. At first, small teams of this type appeared on the international battlefield. As time went on, they gradually became scattered special organizations that roamed among the major forces of various countries. Today, these scattered organizations have begun to form a special alliance internationally. Naturally, there will be no ridiculous division into the evil camp or the righteous side in the alliance. The only thing that can bring them together to form a loose alliance is interest. Usually, the classification of these brigades is very simple. For a country, those who are beneficial are just, and those who are harmful are naturally dark. The dark brigade that Yuan Long mentioned was not something he made up. It was a dark brigade called Feiyu that had come into contact with his brigade in the Southern Continent and had committed many evil deeds. Yuan Long investigated Chen Mei through his own channels because of the commissions from King Ai and Wu Ba. Originally, his method of solving this investigation task was not to investigate Chen Mei and Hong Jun specifically for this cyber violence incident, but to raise it to the level of the Security Bureau, scare them, and make them confess themselves. Isn't there a saying that it is difficult to solve a problem in the same dimension, but it becomes much easier through a higher dimension? Well, it's commonly known as dimensionality reduction attack. Unexpectedly, during Yuan Long's investigation, he discovered something very interesting in this case. This Mr. Hong was actually able to contact a certain economic organization in the Southern Continent through a certain domestic line. That would be fine, but he was also able to conduct transactions. You know, these economic organizations have inextricable ties with the large and small brigades there. This is so interesting. I originally came back to my country to rest, enjoy a relaxing and happy holiday, and to show my filial piety to my family and master. But I accidentally discovered such an interesting secret channel. Yuan Long was immediately very interested. It is definitely not easy to establish such a channel. Regardless of whether the other party has violated the law or not, we should first follow these two young masters to find this big watermelon, and then take a good look at it after pulling it out. Relatively speaking, Chen Mei's matter was too small. It was really just a trivial matter and not worth mentioning. As night fell, it was 9:03 in Yunlu Garden. Xiao Wu's cooking skills are really amazing. It's delicious. Although he had a big appetite and ate 2 bowls of rice, Mr. Mo still maintained a very good manner, looking at Wu Jiangtao and his daughter who were cleaning up the clean plates and bowls with admiration. At dinner today, everyone finally behaved normally and ate all the food Wu Jiangtao prepared. Hearing her mother-in-law's praise, Wu's mother couldn't stop smiling. This was Mr. Mo's approval, which showed that her son had given her a positive initial impression. Great, this is a very good start. Keep it up, keep going, This kid doesn't like being praised. He gets cocky when he's praised. Mother-in-law, how about we go downstairs and take a walk to digest the food? Okay. Mo Wan readily agreed. As they spoke, the two mothers stood up and walked out. Mother Wu also pulled up Li Xiaoshan, who was groaning on the sofa while holding her belly, and took her away with her. As for Chen Jun, during the confinement period, neither he nor Mo Wan would allow her to go out. In their inherent concept, during the confinement period, one must not go out. There are other things like not being able to take a bath, not being able to wash one's hair, and trying to leave the room as little as possible. Chen Jun's scalp tingled when he heard about these postpartum rules. Originally, she thought only Wu's mother would say this, but she didn't expect that her mother would say the same thing when she came today. At that time, the girl felt guilty, and after counting these rules with her fingers, she found that she had violated every one of them. She definitely took a bath, although it was just a sponge bath. A week after her wounds completely healed, that is, yesterday, she took a bath. Of course, she asked the doctor all these on WeChat, and only dared to do it after the doctor confirmed the condition of the wound. Also, the doctor specifically reminded her that she couldn't lie down in the bathtub to take a bath yet, and she also had to be careful with the healed wound and try not to touch it too much water. Shampoo. Not to mention, I have washed it more than once. As for going out, as long as the weather was sunny and there was no wind or waves. She would often go for a walk in the garden downstairs with Wu Jiantao and Li Xiaoshan. After the two mothers left, Chen Jun came to the kitchen and looked at Wu Jiantao, who was washing the pots and dishes. She looked at him anxiously. Jiantao, you won't let me really follow the confinement rules that my mom and aunt talked about today, right? Forehead. Wu Jiantao shook his head helplessly. It's okay. As for what can and cannot be done, we should follow the doctor's advice. As for what my mom and Aunt Mo said, just don't do it under their noses. In fact, Chen Jun didn't know. People like Wu Ma and her mother are already considered open-minded. In some relatively traditional small towns in the South, there are more stringent rules for confinement, such as not opening windows, brushing teeth, watching TV, eating one duck every day, at least drinking the soup, etc. Compared to these two mothers couldn't be more open-minded. In just a few minutes, Wu Jiantao washed the pots and pans and put them neatly into the sterilizer. Turning around, he saw Chen Jun standing at the door waiting for him with a sleepy look on his face. Because her mother was coming today, she didn't sleep much last night. She breastfed two babies in the middle of the night and during the day, and she and Li Xiaoshan laughed and cried at noon. She is really exhausted now, both physically and mentally. You must be exhausted. Wu Jiantao hurried over, subconsciously reached out and held her shoulders. I'm fine. Chen Jun smiled. Although she was very tired, she was very relaxed. She leaned lightly on Wu Jiantao's hand and let him support her to the sofa in the living room. Unconsciously, she began to get used to Wu Jiantao holding her hand or supporting her. Chen Jun felt a little uncomfortable when he did this during her previous hospitalization and confinement period when she was unable to move. But now, she can move freely, and it comes naturally. Lean on me, I'll warm your feet first, and then give you a foot massage, so you can sleep better at night. Wu Jiantao asked her to half lying on the sofa, and Chen Jun's bass voice sounded particularly nice. Chapter 82, what's that like? Please read and vote for me, Tilda. Chen Jun quickly pulled him back, a little embarrassed. No, I would be very embarrassed. Forehead. Originally, Wu Jiantao didn't think much about it, but when the girl said like that, he immediately became excited and followed up on the topic. How is that? Chen Jun glared at the guy with some anger, and immediately stood up and pretended to go back to the room. I'm going back to my room first. Oh, don't grab my feet. Okay, don't think too much. I just want to massage your feet to relax your meridians, activate your blood circulation, and nourish your qi so that you can sleep better at night. Wu Jiantao pushed her back onto the sofa and said seriously, sit down first. I'll go get some hot water and soak your feet with mugwort first, then give you a massage. Ambiguous. Chen Jun's face turned slightly red. Well, it turned out that he was the one who had misjudged the person, not Wu Jiantao. But it was true that when she was massaging her feet, she couldn't help but make that sound. The most important thing was Wu Jiantao's last bite. Her current mood is as if she is afraid but can't help looking forward to it. She is afraid that he will come, but she is even more afraid that he will not come. Wu Jiantao was not an expert in love, so he could not understand all of this. He only knew that she had been through a lot today and was exhausted both physically and mentally and really needed a massage. In fact, Chen Jun's interesting girlish heart is all thanks to her mother, Mo Wan. You know, Chen Jun has been getting more and more beautiful since elementary school, and she started receiving love letters from boys since then. Although the words on those little love letters were written in crooked patterns, which made people laugh at the sight of them. Mo Wan realized the seriousness of the problem from that moment on. So no matter how busy she was with her career, she always kept a close eye on her daughter, fearing that she would have problems with premature love. Therefore, although Chen Jun had developed an ignorant admiration for a few boys in junior high and high school, unfortunately she had never had a serious relationship, let alone college. Under the magnifying glass of Mo Wan, the boys who approached her, although they continued to strive for her, could only end up in failure. This led to, although Chen Jun was bold enough to go straight to the stage of getting married and having a son and a daughter, she had never had a serious relationship even once, which is why she had such complicated feelings. Unlike the girls nowadays who are experienced in love, once they are on a date, their fluttering thoughts are mostly like this. Just hold hands. Who are you pretending to be innocent with? You're so slow. You big fool, if you don't take action, I won't pay attention to you. Hug me, kiss me quickly, and act naughty with me. As for not being able to make a date, there are basically only two situations. One is that the timing is not right, and the other is, I'll treat you to a cup of fragrant green tea. Soon, Wu Jiantao filled the bathroom with hot water, put in a bag of wormwood, and stirred it. The hot water immediately spread the medicinal properties, and the clear water turned black. There are many benefits to soaking your feet in mugwort. It can nourish the liver and detoxify, clear the mind and improve eyesight, detoxify and beautify the skin. It can also remove the cold in the body. The most important thing is that it can dredge the meridians and enhance the body's immunity. This, combined with Wu Jiangtao's current elite foot massage skills, will naturally be of many benefits to Chen Jun. He added some cold water to lower the temperature of the bucket of medicine to avoid burns to the skin. Wu Jiantao then brought the bucket of medicine to the living room, placed it in front of Chen Jun, carefully picked up her feet, and put them into the mugwort soup. Will it be hot? Hiss, it's so hot. Chen Jun had just had her feet manicured yesterday. All the dead skin on the back of her feet and on her toes had been removed. Her delicate skin was so tender that she couldn't help but take a breath of cool air when it touched the slightly hot medicine. Oh, then I'll cool the medicine soup down, but it can't be too cold, otherwise it won't have much effect. Wu Jiantao added some cold water. Immediately, he carefully put Chen Jun's feet into the medicine soup. How does it feel? It's still a little hot, but bearable. The temperature is just right. Well, okay, I'll give you a massage then. Just bear with it. As he spoke, Wu Jiantao looked up and winked at her. Chen Jun's face immediately turned red, and she lowered her head and whispered something, but he didn't hear it clearly. Suddenly, she couldn't help but let out a soft cry. It was Wu Jiangtao's fingers that pressed on the painful spot on the sole of her foot. At the same time, at the gate of 903, just as Wu Ma put her hand on the door handle to push the door in, she moved her ears very sensitively and stopped subconsciously. As for Mo Wan and Li Xiaoshan beside her, they looked at each other in confusion. What was that sound just now? They subconsciously tilted their ears and clearly heard a very special cry of pain. This voice, which was gentle but also carried a hint of anger, and seemed to be a bit sour and refreshing in pain, passed through the door and gently tickled the ears of the three of them. Tusk, tusk, tusk. Their ears were itchy, and the itchy feeling seemed to penetrate through their ears and into their hearts. Mo Wan frowned immediately. What was going on between her daughter and Wu Jiangtao? Wu's mother also had a strange look on her face, not knowing what to say. Could it be? No, it shouldn't be. Their relationship hasn't reached that level yet. As for Li Xiaoshan, she couldn't help but cover her ears. This kind of sound. Woof, woof, woof. Single people can't bear this kind of blow. At this moment, Wu Ma finally remembered that she saw her son bought some pedicure and massage tools yesterday. Immediately, she pushed the door open and walked in. Mo Wan and Li Xiaoshan next to them. Wait a minute. They couldn't help but turn their heads away, fearing that they would see some restricted scenes. The next moment, what appeared before their eyes in the living room at the other end of the entrance was the scene of Wu Jiangtao soaking Chen Jun's feet. Call. In the living room, Wu Jiangtao was calm and didn't react much. Instead, Chen Jun was startled by their sudden appearance. Well, she couldn't help but yelled once or twice, which immediately made the atmosphere between the two of them a little ambiguous. But when the door suddenly opened, she looked over and her face involuntarily became nervous. Mom, Aunt, and Li Xiaoshan, they probably didn't hear it right. However, when Chen Jun saw the strange expressions on the three of them, her face immediately turned red, directly to her ears, and she subconsciously twitched her feet. Don't move, the massage isn't over yet. Wu Jiangtao quickly whispered. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. I'm just massaging your feet. There's no need for you to react so strongly, right? Chen Jun. But at this moment, she was unwilling to let Wu Jiangtao manipulate her feet so casually. So she quickly broke free from his large palm, stood up in her slippers, lowered her head, turned around and fled back to the bedroom, leaving this large social death scene. Chapter 83, The baby is about to be 1 month old. Please read and vote for Matilda. Wu's mother also came in, staring at Wu Jiangtao with a half-smile. Mo Wan didn't know what to say, and Li Xiaoshan looked upset. You two are going too far. It's okay to just throw dog food at me, but you actually launched a sneak attack. How abominable. What? Mo Wan decided to buy a house in Yunlu Garden. Well, it just so happened that 902 on the 9th floor of Building 11 had not been bought yet. She had already asked her assistant Zaya Wan to handle the specific matters. She didn't have a headache about how to tell her husband Chen Chu about her daughter's current situation, because she knew her husband very well and it was easy to deal with. However, it was a little difficult to deal with the elders and relatives of the Mo and Chen families. Of course, I have to tell it. If I am just scolded by the elders of the two families or laughed at by the aunts, it doesn't matter. I am just afraid that it will be involved in some open and secret struggles for interests. Although Chen Jun is a member of the Chen family, she has close ties with the Mo family because of her mother, Mo Wan. Her grandparents, who love her very much, also pooled some money together and gave her shares of the group. Regarding these, it was difficult for Mo Wan to deal with them. To say that it gave her a headache was not an exaggeration. Now the problem with her daughter has been solved. But regarding the investigation of the cyberbullying incident at M University, she doesn't know how Xiaoi is doing. Just when Mo Wan was thinking about whether to send him a WeChat message to ask him. In the hotel where she was staying, King Ai was eating dinner leisurely in the restaurant on the second floor. Suddenly, his cell phone rang. When he opened the email sent by the other party, he was slightly stunned. The sender turned out to be the Scorpio whom he had just commissioned yesterday. King Ai opened the email and found a short video inside. He clicked on the video again with a flick of his finger. I'm Chen Mei, a junior at M University and the president of the student union. In the video, Chen Mei looked grim, as if he had experienced a lot. What role did you play in this cyberbullying incident that originated from the M University forum? I instructed Hong Jun to do this incident, but he was the one who planned it, because in addition to the things about Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun, the things about Lu Wanner in this post were also investigated by him. Tell me how you did it. At first, King Ai was confused by this interrogation video. What was going on? Why did Scorpio use his identity in the Security Bureau? Is such a big deal necessary? Even when he returned to China this time, he kept his code name in the southern continent strictly confidential and never mentioned it to Mr. Mo or his family. Even the identity and name he used were given by the Security Bureau, not his real one. He was a member of a brigade in the southern continent, so he was destined to turn his back on reality and not expose himself easily. But in order to investigate such a small case, Scorpio actually used his identity in the Security Bureau and exposed his identity, which is equivalent to everything that Scorpio has ever had in the southern continent will be wiped out. As a member of the brigade, he must start from scratch and change his appearance and identity before he can go back there, and this will involve considerable risks. Moreover, since he is now personally exposed in the country, their brigade's enemies in the southern continent are likely to take action. However, after the video was finished, King Ai quietly watched the video file being automatically destroyed, and he also understood why Scorpio was willing to take such a big risk. This secret line of communication could actually be used for transactions. Not only could it be used by their brigade, but also by the F-City Security Bureau and even the Southeast China Security Branch. The person who can build such a channel is not simple, but no matter how complex he is, they will not let him go this time and will definitely find him out. Scorpio is Scorpio, still so decisive and quick. King Ai sighed softly, then picked up his phone and called Mr. Mo. Xiaoi. Boss Mo, Chen Mei confessed that the online violence against the young lady was done by him and a son of Hong Jun. Oh, Mo Wan, who was at Yunlu Garden, was stunned. She didn't expect that the results of the investigation would be found out so quickly. As for the details of the case investigation, I think the Security Bureau will inform you soon. Okay, I got it. I'll have Xiaowan send you the subsequent remuneration immediately. It was around 8 o'clock in the evening, in a coffee bar on the pedestrian street of the university town in City F. Yuan Huang and his uncle Yuan Long were sitting by the window on the third floor. The two grown men had been sitting here for less than 10 minutes when they both felt a little uncomfortable. This is the golden time for young men and women to date. This coffee bar is full of couples, and they are naturally very conspicuous among them. While drinking coffee, the nephew looked helpless, even though he was indeed involved in a big case today, which even involved the brigade and economic forces in the southern continent. He just played the role of holographic recording of law enforcement. Afterwards, the uncle did not take any other unnecessary actions and directly handed Chen Mei and Hong Jun over to his colleagues from the Security Bureau who rushed over. The interrogation video just now was given to him by the Security Bureau after the interrogation. As soon as he received it, Yuan Long directly transferred it to the brigade's group mailbox. Uncle, wouldn't Auntie forget again? After waiting for about 20 minutes, Yuan Huang couldn't help but ask. No, your aunt just sent me a WeChat message saying that they are almost here. Suddenly, Yuan Long looked in the direction of the stairs of the coffee bar and waved his hand. Then, he saw a tall and slender girl with delicate features walking towards him, followed by his elder sister. On the other side, Yunlu Garden. Mom. Mo Wan was about to leave. Chen Jun looked at her and for the first time in his life felt a little reluctant to let her go. In all these years, today was definitely the happiest and most relaxing day she had spent with her mother. She had never even thought that there would be such a day. Okay, I'll be back in 2 days. Chen Jun subconsciously muttered in his heart, "Is that true?" Looking at her daughter in front of her and thinking of the cute little grandson whom she had held a few times in the afternoon, Mo Wan naturally felt reluctant to leave, but the work of the group company still needed her. Fortunately, the group has begun to promote online cloud office, and she can do a lot of work remotely, so there is no need to be on site. In a few days, the baby will be 1 month old. As she spoke, Mo Wan looked at Wu Jiangtao. "We must hold a full-month banquet for the baby. Jiangtao, your mother and I have discussed that we should not hold a grand banquet in Kyoto. We should choose the location in City F. You two can decide the details. When the time comes, all the guests will be our relatives, no outsiders." "Oh, well, okay, since you have no objection, then it's decided." Mr. Mo unconsciously revealed the attitude of a CEO. He waved at them, turned around and left with Zaya Wan and bodyguard Xiaoi. Chapter 84, Dad Chen is here. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. Mo Wan has already bought the house next door at 902. The house is also finely decorated, but she doesn't like the furniture in it. She has asked someone to design the furniture specially. Someone will come to decorate it in the next 2 days, and Wu Jiangtao will also come to help take a look at it. After her mother left, Chen Jun, who was sitting in the living room, suddenly felt a little empty and uncomfortable. Wu Jiangtao, who was standing next to her, noticed something was wrong with her and came over quickly. "What's wrong?" "Fine." Chen Jun smiled. The smile was a little forced, and Wu Jiangtao hurriedly comforted her. "It's okay. Your mother will be back in 2 days, didn't she say so? Now she is no longer responsible for specific work content within the group, and most of the work can be done online, so she can stay here and accompany you and the baby." "I hope so." Chen Jun sighed. Her mother had said similar things countless times in the past, but almost never did she keep her promise. After getting in the car, Mo Wan, who had just left Yunlu Garden, suddenly spoke indifferently. "Xiaoi, let's go to Kingliwo Coffee on the nearby pedestrian street." "Okay, Mr. Mo." Hearing this, Zaya Wan, the life assistant next to her, was speechless. If they went directly to the airport now, they would have more than enough time, but if they were delayed somewhere else and missed the plane, they would probably miss the group's schedule. "It's okay, I'm just going to take a look, I won't stay too long." After all, she has treated Li Xiaoshan as her daughter since she was a child. Naturally, she is very concerned about her daughter's major life events and has even introduced several people to her in the past few years. Compared to Chen Jun's confrontation, Li Xiaoshan was much more obedient. She attended every blind date and really got to know those boys well, although none of them succeeded. In the next few days, Li Xiaoshan started to go back to the research institute and had less and less time to come to 903. Sometimes she didn't come for the whole day. Even if she came, she would call Wu Jiangtao in advance to make a reservation for a big meal before coming. She would wolf down her dinner and leave in a hurry. The work at the Research Institute was very busy. Sometimes, even when this big foodie was eating, his mind was still full of various material parameter numbers. He even discussed them with Chen Jun at the dining table while eating. Before we knew it, it was the morning of the day before Daodu and Mayo Miao's full moon birthday. The weather was clear and the sun was shining. Mo Wan and Chen's father finally arrived in City F from Kyoto and walked into Yunlu Garden. Along the way, Chen Chu's face was not very good. A few days ago, when he returned home for a rare time, his wife told him about their daughter at the dinner table. "You've already given birth to a child. Oh, then give me some money as a gift. I won't go if I don't have time." Wait a minute. Chen Chu, who had just stuffed a mouthful of rice into his mouth and whose cheeks were still a little bulging, looked up and looked at his wife in astonishment. "Who did you just say gave birth to twins?" "She's your daughter," Mo Wan said again unhappily. Dad Chen was suddenly confused and subconsciously looked at the date. Today is June 2nd, not April 1st, April Fool's Day. No, what do you mean? What his wife Mo Wan had just said to him was so confusing to him that even with Dad Chen's world-class brain, he was a little confused at this moment. "That's what it means." "Ah, didn't Xiaojun always dislike our introductions and is still single? How come she suddenly had a baby? I was thinking that if it really doesn't work out, I'll transfer her to the Research Institute next year and pair her up with Xiaohu. I think Xiaohu is not bad, he's tall and handsome, but he's a little bald." Mo Wan replied unhappily. "Every time I talk to you about my daughter's blind date, you keep talking nonsense. I'm tired of hearing you talk." Father Chen was immediately choked up. Okay, let's not talk about Xiaohu, what's going on?" Mo Wan then explained the whole story. After listening to the father who had not been with his daughter much since she was a child, his eyes became red, and he was filled with guilt and helplessness. At the same time, he was so distressed that he did not even have time to eat. He immediately made a few phone calls to arrange his work at the research institute and asked for leave from the institute. Dean Chen asked for leave. That day, when the staff of his National Research Institute heard this, they were all stunned. As far as they could remember, Director Chen had always been on the front line of the institute. For more than 10 or 20 years, he had always arrived early and left late at the institute. Except for holidays, he had never been late or asked for leave. The middle-aged women in charge of logistics at the institute were immediately curious and asked Dean Chen if anything had happened at home. Some people who frequently surfed the internet also gave some gossips. After asking the assistant and bodyguard to move the couple's luggage into room 902, Mr. Mo, at the urging of Mr. Chen, went next door and rang the doorbell of room 903. Ding dong, ding dong. A clear bell rang out, footsteps were heard behind the door, and then the door opened. But a boy wearing casual clothes and looking quite clean appeared in front of him. He had a slender body and clear and gentle eyebrows. He looked pretty good at first glance. The most important thing was, the first thing Father Chen looked at was his hair, which was neatly cut, black and thick. Whom he nodded subconsciously. Not bad, not bad, lots of hair, very black, pretty good. Ah, Aunt Chen, this must be Uncle Chen. Come in, come in. Are you making lunch? Mo Wan looked at the chef's skirt he was wearing and asked. Well, since you are here, let's eat together. Wu Jiangtao respectfully welcomed the two future mother-in-law and father-in-law in and handed them slippers. On the other side, Chen Jun also came out of the bedroom. When he saw the two familiar figures, he quickly called out, Dad, Mom, you. Along the way, Chen's father was in a very bad mood. He kept thinking about how to scold his daughter and the boy when he saw them. But when they really met, he didn't know what to say. Scolding your daughter? The heartache is greater than the anger, and I can't bring myself to speak. Scold that boy. My wife told me that this guy comes from a martial arts family, and he himself is a rare martial arts genius. He looks so gentle and doesn't seem like a martial artist, so how can I scold him? Dad, sit down. Chen Jun came over very obediently and pulled his father to sit on the sofa. On the other side, Mo Wan looked around but did not see Wu's mother. She could not help but turn her head to look at Wu Jiangtao beside her. Jiangtao, where is your mother? Oh, my mother went back to her hometown to send out invitations and to do some family ceremonies. She will come back with my father in the evening. Mo Wan nodded, so that's it. Chapter 85 feels okay. Please read it and vote for it, Tilda. Uncle and Aunt, please sit down first. I will go and prepare lunch. Fortunately, the rice had just been cooked. Wu Jiangtao returned to the kitchen and quickly turned off the rice cooker, washed some more rice, and measured water to cook rice again. He took some more vegetables and meat from the refrigerator. With 2 more people, he needed to make 2 more plates of food. Apparently, Dad Chen was not good at speaking. After arriving at 903, all he said to his daughter was dry, namely, how are you? And that boy's name is Wu Jiangtao, right? He didn't bully you, did he? As Wu Jiangtao improved in martial arts, his physical fitness improved day by day, and his 5 senses became more acute. Even though he was in the kitchen, he could keenly hear the conversation of the 3 of them in the living room. In response to her father's questioning, Chen Jun was a little embarrassed, but she still talked about her experiences in the past few days, especially pointing out Wu Jiangtao's care for herself and the babies. Although Father Chen was relieved to hear this, he also felt an indelible bitterness and a bad taste in his stomach. This is my own daughter. The juicy and delicious cabbage that I had raised for more than 20 years just took the initiative to go to someone else's vegetable garden. Not only did it run away, but it also gave away 2 more lovely cabbages. By the way, where's the baby? I need to check on him. After Wu Jiangtao finished cooking and brought it to the dining room, he took off his chef's apron and walked into the living room. What he saw was that Mr. Mo was holding one in his arms, and Dad Chen was holding another in his arms. He looked left and right, unable to let go of them. He was a little dazed and glanced at Chen Jun, but saw that she also looked up helplessly and gave him a helpless look. Uncle and Aunt, it's time to eat. Oh. The grandma and grandpa, who were happily holding their grandson, looked up then. It's already past 12 o'clock. Why does it feel like it's just been a while? The 2 of them reluctantly put the 2 big babies in the baby bed. Finally, Mo Wan also confirmed that the door to the balcony in the living room was closed properly, and the doors and windows in other places were also closed, so that no cool wind blew in. Let's eat first. When he and his wife came to the restaurant, he was slightly stunned when he saw the table full of delicious dishes of various styles. This looked very good. Uncle and Aunt, please take a seat. Most of the dishes are a bit bland. You can try these too. Wu Jiangtao pointed to 2 dishes that were far away from Chen Jun. One was steamed spare ribs with fermented black beans, and the other was spicy chicken. Seeing these two dishes, Mo Wan frowned. Zio Wu, there's actually no need for you to cook extra dishes for us. We're old, especially your uncle, who often stays up late to work overtime. It's just right for us to eat something light. Forehead. Just as Wu Jiantao was about to say something, the door was pushed open, and a slender figure quickly changed his shoes and rushed in. I'm here, Uncle. Mom Mo, you guys are here. Zio Shan. Father Chen also looked at the girl, who suddenly appeared in astonishment. Before he could say anything, he saw Li Xiaoshan pull a chair over and sit down. She picked up the prepared bowls and chopsticks very skillfully and started to eat the spicy chicken in front of her. Wow, here I come. As soon as a small piece of cute red chicken nugget entered her mouth, the spicy taste instantly spread along the tip of her tongue. At the same time, the skin was crispy, and the meat inside gave her a tender and refreshing feeling. The taste was a bit salty, but the mellow chicken flavor was slightly sweet afterward. Tasty. After taking a bite, Li Xiaoshan felt like she was back in her hometown, eating the most authentic Sichuan spicy chicken. Just as she was about to eat it, she realized that the table seemed unusually quiet today. Forehead. When she looked up, she saw that Dad Chen and Aunt Mo were looking at her speechlessly. The girl felt a little embarrassed and laughed it off. Ahaha, Mommy Mo, Uncle. What are you looking at me for? Come and eat. Try Jiang Tao's cooking, it's absolutely amazing. And paired with pure natural soy milk, it's just one word, amazing. Li Xiaoshan's introduction made Chen's father stunned, while Mo Wan couldn't help shaking her head and laughing, patting her husband. Okay, let's eat. I understand. These two dishes are prepared for this girl. I thought Wu Jiantao made them specially for them, but it turns out I was just being wishful thinking. But Wu Jiantao stood up and served them a bowl of tremella and lotus seed soup. Uncle and Aunt, you are busy with work and often work overtime and stay up late. Drink more tremella and lotus seed soup. It is good for moistening the lungs. But when his father-in-law and mother-in-law came, he adjusted the menu according to the physical conditions of the two elders and specially made this soup. Well, the ingredients had been prepared long ago, and he had originally planned to make it in the evening. Tremella and lotus seed soup is relatively cool. Chen Jun can't eat anything too cold now, otherwise it will affect milk production, so Wu Jiantao put some more red dates and wolfberries in it to make up for the warm nature. By the way, Xiaoshan, how about the boy your Aunt Wu introduced to you a few days ago? Mo Wan asked with great concern. Li Xiaoshan, who was wolfing down her food, was stunned and swallowed a mouthful of rice. It feels okay. Two people came that day. When they first met, she almost thought that Wu Ma had made a mistake. Why did she arrange two people right away? Can a blind date be a one-on-two match? However, as Wu Ma introduced him, she realized that the other one, who looked only a few years older, was actually her uncle. After the introduction, Wu Ma swiftly took her brother Yuan Long away, leaving the space for her and her nephew. Is everything okay? Have you contacted me on WeChat? How was the chat? Well, a little dull, but very manly. By the way, he asked me to go out with him tonight. Oh, that's good, that's good. When can you bring it over for Aunt Mo to see? Forehead. Li Xiaoshan was at a loss for words. Mom Mo, he and I just met. We haven't even started dating yet. Then hurry up and put it on. Mo Wan also learned Yuan Huang's basic information from Wu Ma, the captain of the Q City Police Department team and a star-level martial arts master. Young people like this definitely have a bright future. Although they are a bit older, that is only for ordinary people. As warriors, due to the training of martial arts, their bodies can maintain their youthful state even until they are 50 or 60 years old. This is the biggest difference between Chinese martial arts and Western martial arts. In addition to emphasizing the training of muscles, bones, and skin to improve combat ability, Chinese martial arts also have the health-preserving method of internal breathing training. As long as they are not troubled by injuries, Chinese warriors can generally live over 120 years old. Some old monsters can even maintain quite terrifying lethality at the age of 100. A few years ago, a fat old man with white hair in China looked inconspicuous, but he was a purple star martial arts master who had retired from the Chinese Security Bureau for many years. He once went to the northern Dahan Kingdom for a trip and visited his granddaughter who had worked there for many years. Coincidentally, his granddaughter was harassed by a local gang. Chapter 86, Case Closed. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. The old man attacked in anger, knocking down more than 20 strong young men on the spot, including several professional taekwondo masters from Dahan country. Looking at the old man's big belly, white hair, and even the way he sways when he walks, he looks completely non-threatening. But once the fighting started, the hooligans who rushed forward either had their fingers twisted off, their arms torn off, or were knocked unconscious by a slap. Even if there were sneak attacks from behind, the old man's back seemed to have eyes, and he kicked them back, hitting them right in the balls. As luck would have it, this street fight was filmed and posted online, where it went viral and the whole world was in an uproar. Is Chinese martial arts, which is not very popular on the international stage of professional martial arts competitions, actually so strong? At that time, Taekwondo was at its peak in the world of martial arts competition, but the appearance of such a video almost ruined the reputation that Taekwondo had worked hard to build over the years. This is off topic, so let's not discuss it here. After dinner, Chen Jun did not turn around and sit down. Instead, she accompanied Wu Jiangtao to clean up the dishes and bowls on the table and wash the pots and pans together with him in the sink. Although there was a dishwasher in the kitchen, the frying pan and rice cooker could not be put into the dishwasher, so they still had to wash them manually. In the living room, Dad Chen felt a little jealous when he saw his daughter helping in the kitchen, but he could also see that his daughter seemed to get along well with this young man. Okay, you go and accompany your uncle and aunt. I'll take care of this. It's okay. I don't want you to take care of me too well at home all day. I will be out of confinement after tomorrow. Can you teach me how to cook? Wu Jiangtao was a little surprised. He turned to look at Chen Jun, but she looked at him seriously as always. You will be away from home someday. If I can't even cook a meal, fry an egg, or stir-fry vegetables, what will the two babies eat? That's right. Wu Jiangtao thought about it and agreed. The two worked together and quickly finished the housework. They came to the living room and just sat down when they heard Mo Wants say, "The results of the investigation on the post on the M University forum are out." Chen Jun was stunned when she heard this. She really didn't take this matter to heart. If her mother hadn't suddenly mentioned it at this time, she would have forgotten it completely. Wu Jiangtao's face darkened slightly, and his eyes immediately turned to his future mother-in-law. You should know the mastermind behind this. He is a junior student at M University named Chen Mei. What? How could it be him? Chen Jun couldn't help but cover his mouth, looking stunned, while Wu Jiangtao frowned and immediately recalled this influential figure from M University. He didn't expect it to be this kid. In the past, Chen Mei, as the president of the student union, was definitely one of the top students among all the students at M University. Ordinary students like them, as soon as they graduate, are busy running around various talent markets, participating in campus recruitments of various companies, choosing to become reserve cadres of those so-called large companies, or working hard in small companies, or scrambling for a civil service position among thousands of people. This is the norm for most college students today. For a top student like Chen Mei, the future career development is bright. She can pursue an academic career like Chen Jun, or apply for a civil servant position and pursue a career in politics. At the very least, she can easily receive an offer from a top domestic or foreign company. A monthly income of over 10,000 yuan is just the most basic, Mo Wan said calmly. At this time, the F-City Police Department and M University should have issued a notice about this case and announced the news. Although they were surprised that Chen Mei was the person behind the scenes, neither Chen Jun nor Wu Jiangtao felt angry. The former was more regretful and incomprehensible, while the latter was both amused and confused, not sure if this top student was missing a string in his brain or what. Why bother? However, when Wu Jiangtao received a call from his uncle Yuan Long and heard what he said about Chen Mei, he was stunned. It turned out that Chen Mei was not mentally retarded. He had cleared himself completely in this wave of operations. Unfortunately, he had inadvertently participated in the operation of channels of certain forces in the southern continent, and therefore suffered a dimensionality reduction attack from the Security Bureau. Which of the two crimes is more serious? Secretly organizing and planning a cyberstorm or suspected of endangering national security? During the interrogation by the Security Bureau, after learning why he was brought here, Chen Mei collapsed on the spot and said, "Uncle Police, who are you calling uncle? Call him comrade." The young man opposite was unhappy and retorted, Police comrade, I really don't know how Hong Jun found this channel. I really don't know anything about this matter, and it has nothing to do with me. I just ordered him to cyberbully Wu Jiangtao. As for Chen Jun, it was really an accidental injury. From the very beginning of the interrogation, Chen Mei gave up cleanly and decisively, and at the same time completely distanced himself from the financial backer of this so-called brigade from the southern continent. Nonsense, if I can't clear myself of this, my fate will be extremely miserable. Not to mention that his family is a merchant family, even if he has an official background. Well, if he is involved in this matter with an official background, his end would seem to be even more miserable. Later, in order to clear herself, Chen Mei told everything she could think of and everything she remembered about her relationship with Hong Jun, including how many phone calls they made and how they met during that period, what they talked about, and how they planned this cyberbullying incident. When Wu Jiantao received a call from his uncle Yuan Long, the F City Police Department and M University's official website, official Weibo, TikTok, public accounts, and other official media channels immediately released announcements. The announcement disclosed the case in detail. The organizer and planner of this case is Chen, a junior student at M University. In this case, Chen's criminal facts are clear, the evidence is sufficient, the charges are appropriate, and he has been found guilty. The defendant Chen violated the personal rights of the victim in this case, which constitutes the crime of provoking trouble, defamation, insult, false accusation, and framing. In the end, Chen Mei was sentenced to 1.5 years in prison and fined a little. Well, this amount of money is really just a little bit for his family and is insignificant. The most important thing is that this guy has a criminal record because of this incident. In other words, he would never be able to enter politics or work in a public institution or state-owned enterprise. Even because of his involvement with the economic forces of the southern mainland, his family was strictly investigated and his family business was greatly affected. Chapter 80, 7 Full Moon Physical Examination. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. At first, when Chen Mei's family learned about their son's experience, they were stunned for a while and then burst into laughter. He had always been a genius since he was a child. Whether in study or life, he was impeccable and perfect. At M University, his academic performance was still outstanding, and he became the president of the student union. How could such a genius do such an outrageous thing? Be it Chen Mei's parents, uncles, and elders, they didn't believe it at all. They just thought it was a misunderstanding and that there must be something wrong. However, as the director of the Political Education Department of M University continued speaking, the other end of the phone, Chen family, numb, completely numb. This is what it means to use your strength to solidly cheat your father. Next, Mrs. Chen cried and asked her husband to quickly contact someone and ask the F City Police Department to release the person. The old lady over there couldn't bear the bad news about her beloved grandson. Her blood pressure rose, and she fell to the ground. The whole Chen family was in chaos, and everyone was crying. By the way, the name Hong Jun did not appear in any of the announcements from either M University or the F City Police Department. Well, they didn't even mention it. As for the Southeast University of Science and Technology where he was studying, it was also very calm, as if this person had never appeared before. It's as if this guy has disappeared from the face of the earth. No one mentions him and no one asks about him. He is like a pebble thrown into a pond, which creates ripples but then disappears without a single wave or disturbance. Fortunately, Wu Jiantao is a martial artist who has just arrived at the security department and passed the professional certification and left a file in the security bureau. He is also a person involved in the case. He is barely qualified to know the deeper inside story behind the case of Chen Mei, and Hong Jun Yuan Long did not hide it from him, but explained it clearly to him. Of course, he couldn't tell him about the secret channel and how Hong Jun operated it. He only told his good nephew that these two guys were involved with the financial support of a brigade in the southern continent, which led to today's result. Wu Jiantao was also speechless about this. As the saying goes, if you don't seek death, you won't die. What is the most important thing to do when the baby is 1 month old? Is it to hold a 1-month banquet for the baby and invite uncles, aunts, and cousins to come and have a party? No, after the mother leaves the confinement period, she needs to go to the hospital for a 1-month postpartum physical examination. This is the most important thing. Does the baby need a physical examination? Yes, but not when the baby is 1 month old. Instead, the baby should go for a physical examination around 42 days after birth. On the morning of the full moon day, Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun settled the babies down and told Wu Ma that the milk they had squeezed out before was in the freezer of the refrigerator. If they did not come back on time, they should take out the stored milk in advance, dissolve it with warm water, adjust the temperature with a milk warmer, and then feed the 2 babies. There's no problem with Wu Ma at home, and Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen are also here. It's enough for 3 elders to take care of 2 babies. After settling down, the 2 went out. After getting off the special car and arriving at the gate of Kinkeo Maternal and Child Health Hospital again, Chen Jun suddenly felt as if she was in another world. It had been less than a month since she left here, but she had the illusion that a long time had passed. Perhaps it is because I have been taking care of the babies and feeding them almost day and night this month, and every day feels like a year, which gives me this illusion. On the contrary, Wu Ma, who was taking care of two cute babies at home, felt that time passed so quickly. How come it was already a full month in the blink of an eye? After a closer look, the baby has grown a lot. But when they arrived at the obstetrics and gynecology department, Wu Jiantao was waiting in the corridor outside. When Chen Jun went to the examination room by herself, she saw the doctor looking at her in surprise. "You didn't bring the baby with you." Chen Jun was confused. "No, the nurse told me before that the baby's physical examination is 42 days after birth." The female doctor was speechless and said with certainty, "That's right, but you brought your baby here not for a physical examination, but for vaccination. Babies need to get two vaccines after birth. One is the hepatitis B vaccine, and the other is the BCG vaccine. When the baby is 1 month old, he or she needs to get a booster shot of the hepatitis B vaccine. This shot is the same as the one given at birth, and its purpose is to enhance the effect." Seeing Chen Jun's face startled at first, he immediately said anxiously, "How about I ask my family to bring the baby over?" The female doctor shook her head and said, "Forget it, it's okay. Vaccinations don't have to be strictly arranged according to the age of the baby. You can wait for the physical examination on the 42nd day before getting vaccinated." "Oh, okay then." Chen Jun breathed a sigh of relief. "By the way, you must pay attention to your baby's physical condition when giving vaccinations. If your baby has a cold, fever, or a rash on his body, he cannot be vaccinated." "Okay, I'll remember that." The female doctor began to check Chen Jun's postpartum recovery and told her some important precautions. She has seen many mothers who know nothing, and she always reminds them again and again about many important things. But even so, some mothers still forget, just because they are afraid that their babies will miss the vaccination process. As long as the time comes, no matter whether the baby's physical condition is suitable or not, they will take the baby to get vaccinated. They will even hide the baby's condition from medical staff, causing harm to the baby. "Well, your wound has healed well and your breasts are healthy. This is just a follow-up check. You will have another comprehensive physical examination 42 days after delivery. You need to make an appointment for an ultrasound in advance, and your baby should come with you. Remember that." "Oh, okay." After taking the medical card handed over by the doctor, Chen Jun thanked the female doctor solemnly again. The middle-aged woman, who looked to be in her 40s, also smiled at her with a very good attitude. Well, that's the good thing about being good-looking. You can always gain people's favor quickly. As soon as she came out, Wu Jiantao immediately stood up to greet her. "How is it? What did the doctor say?" "The doctor said that my body has recovered well, but I need to come back for a comprehensive physical examination in 12 days. The baby must also come with me and get vaccinated." "Oh, okay, come over then." However, I found that there is more and more fat on my waist. Walking in the hospital corridor, Chen Jun, who had always lived a peaceful and calm life, looked down at her waist. Now she was worried. Well, when she was examined in the clinic just now, although the examiner didn't say anything, she felt uncomfortable all over. It's okay. I will make you nutritious meals for weight loss and fat reduction. I guarantee that you will recover within a year," Wu Jiantao comforted. But Chen Jun turned around and looked over. The sudden, sad look in his eyes made someone look stunned. "I want to eat spicy chicken too." Chapter 88. Enemies on a Narrow Road, please read and vote for Matilda. Chen Jun had always been very calm in front of him. Even when she was a little overwhelmed by the children at night, she never lost her composure in front of him, let alone joking with him now. Not to mention, the girl's joking look made Wu Jiantao lose his focus for a moment, and he forgot about his surroundings for a moment, and almost collided head-on with a stranger who suddenly appeared at the corner. "What the hell, you don't have eyes when you walk?" It's you, Wu Jiantao." A deep voice came, and Wu Jiantao, who had been looking at Chen Jun beside him, just turned his head. But he saw a very tall and majestic figure, about 2 meters tall, standing in front of him, looking at him with a sneer on his face. When his eyes swept over Chen Jun beside him, a hint of surprise flashed in his eyes. "Chen Jun." This person was Lu Pengcheng, and the 2 women behind him. The younger one was Lu Wanner, who had her head lowered, and her facial expression could not be seen clearly. The other woman, who looked to be in her 50s, was about 60% similar to her and seemed to be her mother. "Great, it's just right that you two are here." Lu Pengcheng looked gloomy and stared at Wu Jiantao and Chen Jun with a sneer. "There is something we need to talk about." As they were talking, someone came over from the other side of the aisle. It was a middle-aged woman dressed very elegantly, followed by a classmate who Wu Jiantao was also very familiar with. It was Wang Yuan. "Hey, how was Zyro Wanner's first pregnancy checkup? What did the doctor say?" "Hey, who are these two?" This middle-aged woman with an extraordinary temperament came over and smiled gently at Lu Wanner with a very cordial attitude, while Wang Yuan next to her had a sullen face and turned his head away, not looking over here, and it was unknown who he was angry with. Wu Jiangtao didn't want to pay attention to these two families. He glanced at them indifferently and turned to leave, but Lu Pengcheng stopped him again. Etc. Wu Jiangtao's face turned slightly cold and he said impatiently, "I'm busy." Then he took Chen Jun and was about to leave. "Just try and walk away." Lu Pengcheng stood in front of them with a sneer. "Wu Jiangtao, you abandoned my sister and got together with this woman. You have to compensate us at least. If it weren't for you, my sister and Wang Yuan would have been doxxed and cyberbullied by netizens this time." "Compensate?" Wu Jiangtao was startled, then turned around and looked at him as if he was mentally retarded, and glanced at the Lu and Wang family members behind him. "How dare you come to me and ask for compensation?" "No." Lu Wanner was the first one who couldn't stand it. Green tea was green tea, but she still had her dignity. She waved her hands repeatedly. "No, it's not the compensation my brother was talking about. No, it's not that compensation." Lu's mother and Wang Yuan's mother beside her couldn't help but stand up and said, "It's like this. Pengcheng just hopes that you can testify for us. Give evidence." Wu Jiangtao frowned. "What does that mean?" Lu's mother stood up, glared at her son, and told Wu Jiangtao the whole story in an embarrassed manner. It turns out that in this MDA post-cyberbullying incident, it wasn't just Chen Jun and Wu Jiangtao who received the heat from netizens. Because of subsequent revelations from some classmates in the computer science department, Lu Wanner and Wang Yuan were also cyber-bullied by many netizens. Of course, they only received a dozen text messages and 1 or 2 phone calls. Compared with the overwhelming waves of Chen Jun and Wu Jiangtao, their side is just a small drop in the bucket. But no matter what, they were also being cyberbullied. Therefore, the Lu family and Wang Xing's mother discussed and decided to jointly sue the instigator Chen Mei and the subsequent M University students who broke the news, in order to get some revenge and also ask for some compensation for mental damages. But there was a factual deviation between the post that Chen Mei broke the news and the subsequent posts. The former accused Wu Jiangtao of being fickle and kicking Lu Wanner after hooking up with the goddess Xiao, while the latter said that it was Lu Wanner who cheated, and Wu Jiangtao and the goddess Xiao were just an accident. The following posts are complete nonsense. "Didn't Wanner break up with you before getting together with Wang Yuan? This is clearly a rumor and slander. We just need you to say that Wanner broke up with you first and then got together with Wang Yuan. Isn't this also true?" At this point, Mother Lu forced a smile and looked at the expressionless Wu Jiangtao with some expectation. "Jiangtao, I'm also very sorry that you couldn't end up with our Wanner, but seeing that you now have such an excellent girl by your side, I'm also happy for you. After all, Wanner and you have been together before, and this matter now concerns Wanner's reputation. As long as you say one word, just one word, we can sue the other party for insult, slander, and rumor, and Wanner can resume her normal study life and return to M University College. But if you don't say a word, we can only sue the other party for infringing personal rights at most. Just treat it as anti-begging you. This is just lying with open eyes." On the surface, Lu Wanner did break up with Wu Jiangtao before getting together with Wang Yuan. But is it true that she would go to the Women's and Children's Hospital for a pregnancy checkup with another boy just 1 week after breaking up? Wu Jiangtao looked at Lu Wanner's mother quietly and glanced at Wang Yuan beside him, only to see that after hearing these words, this fellow couldn't help but roll his eyes, his face full of ridicule and impatience. Lu Pengcheng was very angry. In his opinion, Wu Jiangtao had always been the timid and submissive guy as before. Why should he try to please him? Wang Yuan's mother had a warm face and gave people the impression that she was a very gentle mother. There were clearly only 4 or 5 people in front of him, but Wu Jiangtao had the illusion that there were all kinds of living beings. "I'm just telling the truth." After saying this, Wu Jiangtao shook his head. He really didn't feel like getting involved with these inexplicable people. He casually pulled Chen Jun up and turned to leave again. "Brush." A hand came across from the side and blocked their way, but Lu Pengcheng turned around swiftly and blocked Wu Jiangtao again, sneering. "I told you, some people are just like naughty kids. Most of the time, saying nice things doesn't work. You have to teach them a lesson. Otherwise, it will only make them more naughty." As he spoke, he reached out and placed his hand on Wu Jiangtao's shoulder, holding it tightly. "Wu Jiangtao, do you want to say this?" Before he could finish his sentence, he saw the other party grab his claw with his backhand and flip it over. Forehead. This simple grab The nearly 2-meter tall, sturdy Lu Pengcheng was immediately taken down, and he couldn't help but kneel on the ground. He almost gritted his teeth and swallowed back the cry of pain in his mouth. In just a moment, the pain from the flipped palm was so severe that beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. At this moment, his intuition told him that as long as the other party exerted a little more force, the end of this hand of mine will definitely be broken bones. Chapter 89. The Wu family has arrived. Tilda, please read and vote Tilda. You. Lu Pengcheng widened his eyes and turned around reluctantly to look at Wu Jiangtao in astonishment. The Lu and Wang families behind him were also stunned, especially Wang Yuan, who looked even more surprised. I agree with what you just said. Wu Jiangtao pressed down again, and Lu Pengcheng couldn't help but lower himself further. But after all, he was also a professional warrior, and his whole body turned along with the force of his right hand being twisted, and he was about to break free. Wu Jiangtao simply took a step forward, turned around, and continued to press his right hand, put it behind his back, and pressed it again. Duang Duang. This time, Lu Pengcheng was even more helpless than last time. His two knees knelt neatly. The pain in his wrist, arm, and entire shoulder made his face, with thick eyebrows and big eyes, twisted into a knot. He was filled with shock, anger, and horror. He simply couldn't believe what he was going through. Impossible. In my impression, Wu Jiangtao is just an ordinary college student. Oh, my sister mentioned it, and it seems that his family runs a martial arts school. But the Wu family's martial arts school, it is not a national chain brand martial arts gym, nor is it a competitive club martial arts gym. It is a very remote and inconspicuous small martial arts gym that is not presentable. But this, the extremely clear and severe pain in his brain from his twisted arm, told him clearly that Wu Jiangtao and his family's martial arts school might not be simple at all. At this moment, the Lu and Wang families opposite were stunned. Among them, Lu Wanner was even more stunned. In the past few years, she knew that Wu Jiangtao had been practicing martial arts since he was a child, but he was just a little stronger than ordinary people, had a better physique, and could last a little longer. But his martial arts ability was not even comparable to those semi-professional students in the martial arts department of M University, let alone professional martial artists. How could he possibly surpass his brother, who was a professional martial artist? What happened here is a long story, but in fact it happened in just a few breaths. Before the passers-by and nurses nearby noticed, Wu Jiangtao let go of Lu Pengcheng and gently pushed. With a thud, the guy lost his balance and fell to the ground, but he stood up immediately after rolling. You, huh? Wu Jiangtao narrowed his eyes and stared at him coldly. Lu Pengcheng, who was about to rush over in anger, suddenly came to his senses. Glancing at them coldly, Wu Jiangtao did not stay here any longer. Instead, he took Chen Jun's hand and walked away. How could he have such martial arts skills? Impossible, impossible. Looking at Wu Jiangtao's receding back, Lu Wanner was distraught, while her mother and Madame Wang beside her looked at each other in silence. Wu Jiangtao didn't want to know what Lu Wanner and her family did afterwards, nor did he have any interest in knowing. Time passed, and soon it was evening. The two families finally decided to hold the baby's full moon banquet at home. For this full moon banquet, Wu Jiangtao and Chen Jun originally wanted to hold it at a 5-star hotel on East Street in the city to make it more lively. But Mr. Mo told them to hold it directly at home, and there was no need to go through the trouble of going outside. She also told the reason. It's not that she wants to keep a low profile on purpose, but as a celebrity entrepreneur, she is an absolute public figure. When she goes out, she will always attract the attention of many passers-by and fans. If they take pictures of her and her daughter's affairs are exposed, it will probably attract unnecessary attention and public opinion. This is also the case. The turmoil a while ago has just passed. Wu Jiangtao discussed it with his mom and dad again and decided to hold the banquet at home. He would just have to work hard and cook a few tables of feasts himself. Fortunately, Mr. Mo bought the next door 902 and had the foresight to not crowd the hall, so 3 tables were more than enough. In 903, because of the furniture in the living room, 2 tables were arranged, making a total of 5 tables. The guests invited were all relatives of the 2 families, no outsiders, and 5 tables were just enough. As for the 2 families and the baby, they just sat at a table in the restaurant. Fortunately, the restaurant space and the dining table were quite large, so although it was a little crowded, there was enough space. Cooking 5 tables of food, can you do it by yourself? Chen Jun looked at Wu Jiangtao with some worry, but he smiled and said, "It's okay. It's just that we need a lot of ingredients and dishes. My mother and my brothers are preparing them. I won't be the only one in the kitchen. If other people come to help, it will be done soon." As we were talking here, the doorbell rang. Wu Jiantao stood up and went to open the door, only to see his seventh senior brother carrying large and small bags, and behind him other senior brothers and sisters also holding things in their hands. As for his mother, she was at the back with nothing in her hands. It is naturally impossible for the disciples of the martial arts school to ask the master's wife to help them move things, but they still have the basic respect for their teachers. Congratulations, junior brother. Congratulations. Oh, this is your sister-in-law, right? Hello, you are so beautiful. A senior sister came over with a look of delight on her face and approached her intimately. The senior brothers and sisters from the martial arts school came in an orderly manner. They moved the fresh ingredients in their hands to the restaurant, congratulated Wu Jiantao, and couldn't stop looking at Chen Jun, who was a little embarrassed. Everyone's face was full of amazement. This is so beautiful. Before coming here, I heard Master's wife say how beautiful my sister-in-law is, and I was a little skeptical. But now, after seeing her in person, I realized that what Master's wife said was not an exaggeration at all, and it even exceeded their imagination. This is even more beautiful than those female stars on TV, who look so photogenic after putting on makeup. Hey, all of you, go get busy. Don't you see that my sister-in-law is embarrassed because you guys are staring at her? Get out of here. If you don't get out of here, come practice with me, your sister. Seeing that Chen Jun couldn't stand everyone's scrutiny, the second senior sister immediately stepped forward, stood in front of her, and asked the junior brothers to go and do their work. Just now everyone was just curious, no ill intentions. The second senior sister is even half a head taller than Wu Jiantao, with a slender body. Her eyebrows are not as soft as those of ordinary girls. Her long eyebrows are like swords, and she has a very attractive heroic spirit. Women are as good as men. When Chen Jun saw this second senior sister, this sentence involuntarily emerged in his mind. Where are the babies? Can I go see them? When talking about babies, second sister's eyes lit up and her face was full of anticipation. Sure, Chen Jun smiled and took her to the master bedroom. After they entered the room and closed the door, the noise in the living room and dining room outside suddenly disappeared. The sound insulation of this house is really good. The second sister turned around in surprise and listened carefully. Only then did she hear some slight noises outside, but she couldn't hear clearly what everyone was saying. Chapter 90. The arrival of Chen and Mo's families. Please read and vote tilde. On the Wu family's side, fellow disciples from the martial arts gym and the gym owner, Wu Dad, arrived first and immediately began to arrange tables, chairs, bowls, and chopsticks on the scene, while Wu Jiantao began to process the ingredients in the kitchen and prepare some dishes such as soups. The full moon banquet of this day was being prepared in an orderly manner. Mom, over here. At the pickup gate of F-City International Airport, Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen received people from the Chen and Mo families from Kyoto. Almost at the same time, the elders of the Wu family also walked out from the exit of the high-speed railway station a few kilometers away. I didn't expect that Tao Tao would make me the first great-grandfather among your generation. Old Master Wu was standing with his hands behind his back in a cheerful manner. He was wearing a very classic Zhongshan suit with an upright posture and steady steps. His hair was pitch black and his face didn't have many wrinkles. If it weren't for the wrinkles between his eyebrows, it would not be an exaggeration to say that he was a middle-aged man in his 50s. But at the exit, everyone who saw his appearance would find it hard to imagine that he was actually a man who was almost 80 years old. Upon hearing this, Yuan Huang, who was standing next to him, gave a wry smile. Yes, Zhao Huang, you have to work harder too. You can't always forget about life because of work. No matter how busy you are, you always have time to rest, right? Or are all the people in your security department men? Grandma Wu patted his shoulder. She also looked very young, with shiny black hair tied up in a bun, and a ruddy, clear face with a little makeup on, giving the impression of a woman in her 40s or 50s, but looking at her eyebrows, she looked like she was in her 60s. Who would have imagined that she was already a grandmother in her 70s? Martial arts practitioners appear younger, and this is not unique to Chinese martial arts. The Western world also has unique spiritual meditation and breathing techniques, which, when practiced to a high level, can prolong youth to varying degrees. Since the last century, countless scientists in the scientific biosphere have devoted themselves to studying this aspect, studying why these martial arts breathing techniques and internal training methods that have been passed down since ancient times have magical effects similar to immortality, and trying to crack them. Unfortunately, the human body has so many mysteries that this project of exploration is so huge. Until now, there has been no substantial research results in this area. Even if there are any, they are bound to be fake and misleading. Yeah, I'll speed up, I'll speed up. Facing Grandma Wu's urging, Yuan Huang smiled bitterly and said repeatedly, but his mind emerged with the tall, thin, pretty girl that his second aunt introduced to him a few days ago. The girls I went on blind dates with before would tell me right away that my mom wanted such and such a house, and a car worth such and such a price, and that I would not be responsible for cooking or housework after marriage, and that I understood that you were busy, and that I would hire a maid, and so on. In fact, he can understand these things, and he knows that these are the realities that most of his peers will face now, and with his current job and income, it is not difficult to do these things. But the problem is that facing these things is one thing, and saying them directly is another. Yuan Huang did not think that he was noble or arrogant. Over the past few years, the girls he had dated were all better than the other and pretty. There were even one or two who were prettier than Li Ziaoshan. However, what about a car or a house? Or you don't like doing housework and want to hire a maid? Or even more excessive conditions, in his opinion, are the prerequisites for discussing these things. It shouldn't be that we have feelings for each other, and we won't be too demanding about soul mates or anything like that. But at least we should spend some time together, to the point where we like each other and feel happy to see each other, right? As he got older, Yuan Huang's requirements for this major life event became lower and lower, and it has become so simple that only this one word remains. But over the years, whether Yuan Huang introduced a blind date or met a girl at a high-end blind date club, almost all of them started talking about these things. Although Yuan Huang has no boyfriend yet, he gradually realizes that a girl like this is not suitable for him. To be more specific, these girls simply tolerate their partner's personality, busy career, inability to take care of themselves, and even lack of affection because of material conditions, and pursue certainty in the future of marriage to ensure that they can live a stable life in the second half of their lives. There is nothing wrong with this, but Yuan Huang's own pursuit of life and marriage is to tolerate because of love. As the saying goes, people with different ideals cannot work together, and this is the fundamental reason why he has remained single all these years. Li Ziaoshan, she should be here today. After the last blind date, Yuan Huang added her as a friend on WeChat and chatted with her, exchanging each other's preferences and personality traits, and even made an appointment to go for a walk in the park the next day. Although their first date had to end due to work, and it was Li Ziaoshan who dropped him off at the railway station, it was still a good start. Because he was accompanied by two elders, Yuan Huang called a more comfortable Didi business car, so that the two elderly people could sit comfortably and the experienced driver could drive steadily. Soon, they arrived at the main gate of Yunlu Garden. The environment here is nice. As soon as he got off the car, Mr. Wu looked at the seemingly plain and simple garden in front of him and nodded slightly. Well, it should be designed by the master. As he spoke, the old man turned his head and looked around. When he saw Kayani Villa diagonally opposite, he couldn't help but frowned. The main building design over there is magnificent, with carved beams and painted buildings, and it is indeed not bad overall. At least it is at the same level as Yunlu Garden here, but the styles they follow are not of the same category. But I don't know whether it is the designer's own problem or the developer's inability to make demands. But the originally good luxury villa residential area is named Kayani Villa. Maybe the person who gave it such a name thought that only such a name could be worthy of such a majestic and beautiful villa community. However, the reality is that adding the best to the best will most likely result in a negative result. Originally, it was a very luxurious villa community, but the name gave it the air of nouveau rich. No wonder none of the high-end intellectuals in the university town came here to buy a house. It's not because they can't afford it, but they simply don't want to embarrass themselves. Led by Yuan Huang, Grandpa Wu and Grandma Wu passed through the gate of Yunlayuan community and walked into Building 11. As soon as Yuan Huang clicked the elevator button, he was stunned. Hi, you're here too. There were already people in the elevator. They were Li Ziaoshan, Mr. Mo, and Mr. Chen. There were also two elderly people who looked to be in their 60s, and a few young men and women who were chatting and laughing. Chapter 91. My grandfather Guan Yuncheng. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. The ones who greeted Yuan Huang were naturally Li Ziaoshan and Mr. Mo. Hi, good evening. Yuan Huang's eyes lit up. He smiled at Li Ziaoshan and greeted the elders from the Chen family. When the two sides met, they naturally greeted each other with smiles. There was no bloody scene of one looking down on the other and then slapping the other in the face. The two families came to the 9th floor in great harmony. Soon, the living room of 903 was full of people. Most of the people present were elderly people chatting, while the young people didn't talk much. Some simply sat in the corner, holding their phones and playing tick-tock. Of course, the volume of the phone was turned down very low, otherwise everyone at the scene would have heard the iconic miserable laugh on tick-tock, which was almost dying. Chen's father and mother were both experienced intellectuals from the last century. When they met Grandpa Wu and Grandma Wu, they were naturally warm and friendly, and began to recall the passionate years of the past. People of that era were very similar in both ideals and sentiments. When they got together, they could always recall the struggles and hardships of those years. Oh, when it comes to getting married, it's not like now where you need a car or a house. You just need to get the 4 major items together. For a poor family, a flashlight was a very good gift back then. There was no such thing as setting up a wedding banquet with 100 or 200 tables like now. The past was not like the present, but I just can't stand this kind of lavish waste. Such good food, look, a table of dishes costs thousands of dollars, but more than half is left. Grandpa Chen shook his head. That's right. Mr. Wu agreed with his words very much. Young people nowadays have a bad habit. Even when they are eating together at the table, they still hold their phones. When you call them once, they will look up at you but won't respond. When you call them again, they will realize, oh, the food is served, time to eat. Just eat, but you are still holding your phone while eating, talking about pushing towers, leading the line, jungle catching people, etc. Say something to him, he says you don't understand. As he said that, Grandpa Wu turned his head and looked at a young man in his 20s holding a mobile phone next to him. But I understand pesticides. I am the king of pesticides. But what about him? He hasn't even become the king yet, and he actually told me that he doesn't understand. He really underestimates me. Dad Chen, this I really don't understand. Upon hearing this, the young man who had put down his phone awkwardly became alert and looked at Grandpa Wu with shining eyes. Grandpa, are you really the king of pesticides? We old witches never say. Ahem, how could it be false? As he spoke, Grandpa Wu took out the latest and most fashionable Huawei gaming phone, opened the game interface and handed it over, amidst Grandma Wu's reproachful gaze. Looking at the majestic and domineering dragon head on the screen and the extremely eye-catching X141 below, this guy was immediately very excited. He ignored the frown on the uncle's face and looked at the old man with great admiration. Grandpa, can I add you as my game friend? I'm not bad. Although I'm only a diamond now, I've been to the first level of glory. Unfortunately, I always run into terrible teammates. I'm only one step away from becoming the strongest king. Master, please guide me. In the living room, the other elders were stunned, while Grandma Wu looked helpless. Here they come again. Yes, our Grandpa Wu is also a well-known figure in the pesticide circle. He even often broadcasts games live, but because he never shows his face, many fans think that he is just an old man who is very good at playing games. Because the old man loves the Three Kingdoms so much, he has played almost every hero of the Three Kingdoms in Nanjiao to the national level. Among them, his favorite hero is Guan Yu, who he calls his own hero. Then there are Zhao Yun, Lu Bu, Zhu Liang, Zhou Yu, Zhang Fei, Zai Hudun, Sun Shangxiang, etc. Wu Jiantao, who was busy in the kitchen, moved his ears slightly and heard the noise in the living room. He suddenly burst into laughter. He also loves to play this game, and he has been playing it since he was in the 3rd grade of junior high school. Once when he went to his grandfather's house to play this game, the old man looked at it with great interest and taught him how to play. After that, the old man, who only practiced boxing and took walks everywhere in his hometown every day, became addicted to the game, and later it became unstoppable. However, the old man controlled the time he spent playing games very well. He did not play all night long, but still practiced boxing and took walks to nourish his energy every day. He only played games when he had free time. Later, when Wu Jianta was in high school, he went to his grandfather's house again and was shocked to find that the old man's rank had actually dropped directly to the low rank of king. He stood by and watched for a while and found that the old man was the strategist of the 5 people in every game, wearing headphones and sending real-time voice, and his guidance was so good. When to capture people and when to push the tower are all arranged clearly, and the old man is particularly good at ambushing and capturing people. After every team victory, the old man would proudly instruct him that the tactic for invading the jungle in the early stage of development was, if you are poor, use tactics to insert. And when the economy was crushed in the late stage and the team pushed forward, it would become, if you are successful, blow it up for me. Later, Wu Jiantao also joined the old man's team. Although he didn't play much due to his studies, he often played in a duel with the old man, and his rank reached the king level. When he was in college, he posted a thread in the Nanjiao forum with the title, "My grandfather is Guan Yuncheng." In the thread, he introduced his grandfather and then put on several short videos of the old man's classic charge scenes. One of them pushed 4 enemies into the tower in one breath. One pushed, picked, and stabbed the enemy's back row mage with unparalleled precision, and one rushed forward to kill 5 enemies. As soon as this post was published, it immediately exploded the forum, and many players questioned the content of the post, saying that this was something that a man in his 70s could have typed out. Impossible, absolutely impossible. But Wu Jiangtao did not respond to any comments in the post afterwards. He just looked at the netizens' exclamations and doubts with a happy smile. In fact, when Wu Jiangtao was a child, after knowing that he had no hope in martial arts, Grandpa Wu had always been concerned about his studies. He was worried that he would become depressed and addicted to online games or mobile games, so he wanted to play some himself to understand the young people's thoughts, and then communicate with him well so that he could arrange the time for games and studies. Unexpectedly, he actually found the game interesting and even made quite a bit of money. Nowadays, the old man, who is a game anchor, earns a lot of money for a live broadcast. He has also been invited to participate in several online activities, where his appearance fees are even higher. He was even invited by well-known club teams to be a tactical instructor several times, but he refused. Players who have watched the old man's live broadcast know that in the game led by the old man, as long as his teammates don't cheat, he is basically a sure winner. He is respected as a tactical master in the circle. Chapter 92, Getting a Certificate. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. In the living room, several young people who loved playing this game were even more astounded after seeing the old man's game ID, Spring and Autumn War God. They bowed down to him, and some even took out a signature board from somewhere to ask for his autograph. This scene made Chen Jun's grandparents very surprised. Old Chen looked on with envy, as old man Wu mingled energetically with the young people. You guys are better off practicing martial arts. You still have the energy and spirit. Look at me. I work 2 or 3 hours a day at the Research Institute, and my waist can't take it. I often work until late. Look at my hair. It's not only bald, but also white. You look 20 years younger than me. Haha, actually, it's very simple to maintain your health. Let me take your pulse. Grandpa Wu felt the pulse of the father-in-law, asked about his eating, sleeping, and bowel movements, and wrote some dietary recipes for him. Then he stood up and gave him a massage. He also asked Dad Chen to take photos of the massage movements with his mobile phone, and then gave the old man a massage after returning. Finally, he specially designed a few simple movements similar to the 5 animal exercises, so that Mr. Chen could move more when he returned home. He assured him that as long as he went back to eat according to the diet, massage more, exercise more, and pay attention to rest, at least he would not suffer from back and knee pain. Once when there was a harvest, Dad Chen was naturally very grateful and thanked him repeatedly, but the old man smiled and said it was just a small effort and nothing. During the conversation just now, Father Chen knew that this old man was a martial arts master. The diet, massage techniques, and health-preserving movements arranged by such a master for his father must be very effective. The body has great medicine. During the chat, the old man said solemnly, "Nowadays, most people go to the hospital for injections and antibiotics for minor illnesses and pains. This is actually not advisable. In fact, we Chinese have had many good ways to prevent and treat diseases for thousands of years. Take the common cold, for example. Acupuncture points like Lianquan and Tiantu are in the front of the throat. Moxibustion can warm the meridians and is very effective in treating wind cold. If it is a wind heat type, moxibustion can be performed on the Dazhui point behind the throat to dispel wind heat and treat coughs. Acupuncture points can be used inside and outside, and moxibustion can be performed at the same time. The old man gave a live explanation and used a young man from the Chen family as an example to point out the acupoints. Everyone listened with great interest and took notes carefully. The effects of moxibustion are more than that. The old man smiled and looked at Mr. Chen opposite him. Just like you said before, because of work, you often have back pain, you can moxibustion the painful area. As he spoke, he pointed to several acupuncture points on the young man's lower back and said, "Moxibustion Shenshu and Yeyongyuan. Usually our lower back pain is actually here. In addition to here, you can also moxibustion here behind the knee, which is called Weizhang point. Chinese medicine says that the back and waist can be treated with Weizhang point. If you usually have back pain, you can rub this area with your hands more often, which can prevent and treat back pain." Hearing these words, the young man didn't react much, but the older man was slightly stunned and chewed on these words in his mouth. For back and waist problems, seek Weizhang Acupoint. Wei means to be wronged. Wei means to bend. And what does it mean to bend the knees? It means to surrender. The naming of the acupuncture point and its miraculous therapeutic effects not only demonstrate the exploration and discovery of our ancestors in Chinese medicine, but also contain the unique humanistic culture of Chinese civilization for thousands of years. A temporary bending of the knees will bring future health and strength to the waist and back, just like Han Xin in ancient times, who was able to endure the humiliation under his crotch during the late Qin dynasty. A good man can bend and stretch himself, which is the wisdom of Chinese men in dealing with people. Everyone in the living room listened with great interest as the old man interpreted the cultural significance of this acupuncture point in greater depth. They had never expected that such a small acupuncture point could contain so much wisdom and truth from our ancestors. In the relaxed and pleasant chat, time unknowingly came to 7:30 in the evening. As Wu Ba's disciples brought out the prepared meals one by one from the kitchen and placed them on the table, today's full moon banquet began. Everyone was amazed at the dishes that were served one after another. Not only were the dishes beautifully presented, but each dish was also cooked very beautifully. The aroma of the dishes whetted people's appetites. It smells so good and looks so delicious. Several little friends who were sitting at the table were drooling and couldn't help but reach out to grab the crispy duck. The grandparents hurriedly stopped them and put some vegetables in their bowls. Suddenly, the naughty kids all looked miserable and reluctantly put the vegetables into their mouths with a spoon. It's delicious. As soon as I put it in my mouth, I thought that the green vegetables, which I thought were tasteless, had a completely different taste from the past. It was salty and sweet, and it was soft and tough, but when I bit it, it had an inexplicable crispness. Grandma, I want this too. Delicious, delicious. Huh. The adults rarely saw this scene and were extremely surprised. Spiced crispy duck, baked lobster with fish flavor, braised vegetables with mushrooms, chicken soup stewed with cordyceps. One dish was served every 10 minutes or so. At the banquet, no one spoke much as they all focused on eating. Having eaten so many banquets since childhood, this was the first time for the children to eat such delicious food, and the adults were also very curious. Even Mr. Mo and Father Chen had only eaten such delicious food a few times. Not bad. Grandpa Wu was well informed and ate a little more this time. He nodded and said, I thought Zhan Yang was exaggerating, but it seems he was just being modest. This level of food is better than many famous restaurants. I've only had such delicious food a few times in the past. Mr. Chen beside him was also surprised. Well, it's really delicious. I didn't expect Xiao Tao to have such good cooking skills. It seems that Xiao Jun doesn't have to worry about eating this in the future. Yeah, that's right. Following such a great chef, even if Xiao Wu is not at home occasionally, she will definitely learn from him and learn how to cook. This way, the baby won't starve. Grandma Chen nodded, but suddenly she seemed to remember something and frowned. By the way, my son told me before that Xiaojun and Xiaotao haven't got their marriage certificate yet. Mr. Chen was stunned, but he heard his wife continue to say, I saw Xiaotao today and I think he is a good kid. He looks like a good kid who knows how to live a good life. If you ask me, don't delay it and just get the marriage certificate right away. When Grandpa Wu heard Grandma Chen praising her little grandson, he immediately laughed happily. Grandma Wu, on the other hand, reacted immediately and agreed with her. That's right, I think it's okay. Tell them to stop delaying and get the marriage certificate right away. This will be good for both of them and the baby. The child's household registration is still in Q City. Chapter 93, Hospitality. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. When Wu Ma was discharged from the hospital, she went back to Q City the next day to register the two babies and pay for their medical insurance. Yes, the educational environment here is very good. Once we get the marriage certificate, we will be married. The baby's household registration can also be smoothly transferred here. Then it will be convenient for him to go to kindergarten and elementary school in the university town. The learning environment here is very good. Yes. While they were talking excitedly, Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen were looking at each other in bewilderment. Before coming here, we had a good discussion. Is it really okay for you two elders to change your mind so easily? As for Mother Wu and Father Wu, who were sitting next to Grandpa Wu at the table, they were watching with smiles on their faces. They were naturally happy to see this happen. They had nothing to say and just let Grandma Wu do what she wanted. Xiao Tao and Xiao Jun, what do you think now? Before Grandma Wu could say anything, Grandma Chen turned around and looked at the young men and women beside her. Well, when the elders here were discussing their major life events, they couldn't help but look at each other. Wu Jiantao felt it was okay, but Chen Jun felt a little embarrassed. A blush appeared on his face, and the mentality of wanting to refuse but also to accept appeared again. "I—" Chen Jun didn't know what to say for a moment, and subconsciously turned his head to look at Wu Jiangta. He was also a little embarrassed here. After all, the two of them had not yet understood each other's personalities and preferences, so they chose their words carefully. "Grandma, after all, we have only been together for a month. Xiaojun may still have some." Hearing his ordinary answer, Chen Jun felt a little relieved, but his mind couldn't help but think of the time when this guy held his feet and bit them, and he felt a little unhappy. "What did I do to you? It seems like you did something to me." She looked at her grandmother with a frown. "Grandma, I just want to take good care of my body and the baby first. As for other things, I haven't thought about that yet." Forehead, didn't you think that much? Hearing this, Wu Jiangtao felt a little disappointed, but he remembered her extremely cute reaction when he was giving her a foot massage for the second time, and was caught by Mr. Mo and Li Xiaoshan, and ripples of emotion welled up in his heart. "She is thin-skinned, sorry," but he didn't know that his response, which showed no attitude at all, calmed Chen Jun's pounding heart, which led to such a neither soft nor hard answer. How could a straight man like him, with limited emotional experience, sense this kind of mysterious and subtle emotional reaction? Only the witch mother was watching here, worrying about her son, and couldn't help but reach out and pinch him. "Wu Jiangtao." The guy turned around with a puzzled look on his face and looked at his mother, only to see her suddenly pick up her phone and write something. "Ding dong, a WeChat message was received on my phone. Mom, you are stupid. What about your attitude? What do you think? Show a clear and positive attitude. Why do you care what Xiaojun thinks at this time? I am so angry." Shui Shu Wuliang, black question mark face. "Mom, forget it. I roughly know what your situation is now. I'll tell you what to do later." "Really?" Wu Jiangtao stopped looking down at the phone on the table with the corner of his eyes. He turned his head subconsciously and glanced at the girl next to him. She was drinking cordyceps stewed chicken soup in small sips. The food on their table was a little different from the other tables, with a few more dishes that were lighter, more nourishing, and more nutritious. It would be better for Chen Jun not to touch greasy food now, especially since she also had to start controlling her weight and lose the fat around her waist. Not only that, this girl started practicing yoga these days. It was also through this that Wu Jiangtao learned that this girl had learned a lot of arts when she was a child, including piano, violin, cello, and Chinese guzheng and pipa, but her favorite was dancing. "No wonder my waist doesn't show much even after giving birth to 2 babies." She practiced yoga because she was too busy at the research institute and didn't have much time to practice dancing. That's why she learned yoga. She would practice it every day to keep in shape. Feeling Wu Jiangtao's gaze, Chen Jun ignored him. "Humph, because of what someone said just now. She is currently charging up her mana and will use her ultimate move when she has enough mana." The witch on the opposite side saw all this and felt helpless. As expected, regardless of age, men are usually so rough and are always a step slow in following girls' thoughts. But this is just a minor problem. After all, it also shows that Wu Jiangtao is pure-minded. He doesn't have any complicated thoughts or schemes. As the saying goes, a journey of 1,000 miles tests a horse's strength, and time reveals a person's heart. These small setbacks in the early stage are also a little grinding for their emotional growth. When the relationship warms up in the future, I will naturally not procrastinate like this. When we get to the bottom of it later. This family of 4 is complete. Tonight, at this special full moon banquet, everyone had an especially good appetite. Every dish was immediately cleared as it made its way around the table. Even though Wu Jiangtao had deliberately overestimated the number of people at each table and cooked according to the larger number of people, the guests had big appetites, and even the children were eating with great pleasure. Not to mention the adults. Because of this rare delicacy, not many people even chatted. As for 902, several young people from the Wu and Chen families and their uncles had already started playing finger-guessing games and drinking. Today's full moon banquet was not only for the baby, but also for the marriage between the Wu and Chen families. The most precious cabbage from their family was given away, and several elders from the Chen family were upset and took the lead in attacking the Wu family. Soon, the sounds of drinking and finger-guessing began to emanate. The sound was so loud that it even reached 903. Well, because they were hosting a banquet together, the doors of 903 and 902 were both open. When Wu's father heard the noise, he immediately called a disciple over to ask what was going on. When the apprentice said this, it turned out that it was an uncle of Chen Jun from the Chen family who took the initiative to attack the Wu family. Wu's father was stunned at first, but then he laughed. He thought it was a civil war between the Wu family's martial arts school and the elders of the family. After all, the relationship between the two families is a bit awkward now, but he didn't expect that it was the Chen family who took the initiative to attack. Originally, if it's the former, that's pretty much it. But if it is the latter, of course we must let them feel the hospitality of our Wu family. Well, we must personally carry them to the hotel to rest. Wait, they are relatives, just help them walk. Sincerity and enthusiasm are in place. As for the wine, moderation, just moderation is good. What is hospitality? That's it. Chapter 94, Quarrel. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. Master, how should we arrange this? Wu Jiangtao's fourth senior brother looked at Wu's father and saw him nod calmly. Well, tell the eldest senior brother, the second senior sister, and the seventh senior brother not to drink. Someone has to drive. The fourth brother was stunned. Aren't the first and seventh brothers the ones who drink the most in our martial arts school? Why don't we let them fight? That's it, go tell the guys. After all, they all practiced martial arts, and all of them were at least masters of the whole strength level. Martial artists could drink more than ordinary people. If we send out the ones who can drink the most, wouldn't that be bullying the honest people? Soon the fourth brother also understood. Since we are getting married, it is better to be moderately enthusiastic. Don't be overly enthusiastic and scare people. That would be meaningless. Well, having understood the master's request, the fourth brother immediately conveyed it to all the fellow disciples. Today, just make the opponent drunk to the point where he has to be helped away. Take it easy and don't go too far. As soon as this was said, several fellow martial arts students at the two tables at 9:03 immediately stood up. This posture made the Chen family members sitting here stunned. The next moment, the Chen family members were stunned, with a chill on their backs, watching these tall and strong men file out from here and walk to 9:02. Father Wu stood up and called out to everyone to continue eating and drinking, and they went over to play finger-guessing games and drink. Oh, Father Chen frowned. Is it the fourth child? Maybe there are also a few cousins. Well, they are also good at drinking and playing finger-guessing games in their hometown. They should be. Are you okay? Although Xingxia comforted himself, at this moment he inexplicably had a bad premonition in his heart. Forget it. Soon the banquet was almost over. The main dishes and vegetables on the 5 tables were almost all gone. It was only because everyone was too full in the last few dishes that a little bit was left. Well, the eldest senior brother and second senior sister who were cleaning the dishes with Wu Jiangtao rarely saw such a scene and couldn't help but marvel in admiration. Junior brother, where did you learn this cooking skill? I never expected it. When Master told us about it, we didn't quite believe it. Second sister liked it. The food you cooked today is really delicious. The eldest brother also echoed. When I was a senior in college, I suddenly became interested in it, so I started studying. Wu Jiangtao said casually, well, maybe it's because today is a special day. He worked extra hard and performed a little beyond his normal level, so it's normal that he is particularly popular. After Wu Jiangtao cleaned up the outside, he went to the bedroom. In the room, the baby woke up and was eating happily while hugging his mother's granary. The baby is awake. He was slightly stunned and estimated the time. Well, it's about time to change the diaper. After going through the difficulties of taking care of the baby for a full month, this dad has gradually grown up and has a good grasp of the baby's schedule for when to change diapers, feed, and defecate. Chen Jun responded indifferently. The two of them were alone in a relatively private room, and Wu Jiangtao immediately noticed that there was something wrong with her tone. What's wrong with you? He hurried over and sat next to Chen Jun. I'm fine. I'm really fine. What I said. It is indeed a classic reply that girls today can pass down from generation to generation. While saying this, she turned her face away, as if she didn't want to see Wu Jiangtao. Although he is not very good at capturing the subtle emotions of girls, Wu Jiangtao is no novice in love after all. If he really thinks that Chen Jun is fine at this time, then he must be crazy. Forehead. He quickly approached her shamelessly and put his hand gently on Chen Zhengxiang's shoulder. What's the matter? Tell me. Are you feeling unwell or did someone make you angry? Tell me, I'll teach him a lesson. Chen Jun couldn't help but turn around and look at him. Actually, she couldn't say she was that angry. She had come to her senses now. This guy had probably always been a somewhat rough straight man and not an expert in love. It was very good that he considered her feelings first in the situation just now. At least he is frank and real like this. I thought so, but Chen Jun turned his face away and couldn't help but change his expression when he spoke. It's you who offended me. Wu Jiangtao was stunned at first, but when he saw the cute, angry girl in front of him, his heart warmed up a little, and he chose to open his arms unreasonably and hug her. Although he had hugged me in a similar way before when I was in the hospital and at home and had difficulty moving, for some reason this action now was completely different from before. She couldn't even speak for a moment and twisted her body to try to escape. But because she was holding the baby in her arms, she didn't dare to shake her hands or body too hard for a while. Chen Jun's face flushed with drunkenness, her heart pounding. "What are you doing? I'm feeding my baby. You are angry, I have to comfort you, right?" Filled with soft fragrance, Wu Jiantao felt justified. Looking at the girl's angry and smiling expression, he felt fond of her. Chen Jun laughed angrily. "Are you trying to fool me? Get lost, you are clearly taking advantage of me. No, I won't let you go unless you're no longer angry." Okay, then I'm not angry anymore and you can let go. You're pressing the baby." "Nonsense, how come I'm crushing the baby when I hold you from behind? Why don't you let me go?" Chen Jun subconsciously wanted to turn back. "Let me hug you for a while?" Wu Jiantao was speechless and quickly hugged her shoulders to prevent her from moving. Suddenly, the light blush on Chen Jun's face spread behind her ears like fire. Don't move, let me hold you quietly for a while." Wu Jiantao took a deep breath, and Chen Jun also breathed a sigh of relief. She didn't dare to move anymore and just sat quietly on the bed leaning against him. She felt a little angry, but more of it was the throbbing that made her face hot. Soon, Mio Mio in her arms was fed with milk. She stood up holding the baby, and Wu Jiantao, who was holding her, stood up as well. She bent down and put Mio Mio on the baby bed, and Wu Jiantao, who was holding her, also bent down. "Would you rather let me go?" Chen Jun was speechless. "I have to coax you," someone shamelessly said. Where's your face? The girl asked him. Wu Jiantao, who was still holding her, asked back, "What is that? Can I eat it?" Chen Jun was so angry that he turned around and poked him. "Wu Jiantao, I finally see your true face. You are just a shameless hooligan." Bang! Wu Jiantao grabbed her hand and gently pulled it. This time, the two of them hugged each other head-on. In an instant, the whole room was quiet, except for the faint breathing of the two babies in the cribs. The two of them even held their breath. At this moment, Chen Jun felt inexplicably confused and his body felt a little weak. He couldn't help but bury his head in Wu Jiantao's broad chest. At the same time, his hands moved in front of him. "Well, we just opened the warehouse to put the grain in, and the zipper hasn't been closed yet." "Buff!" Wu Jiantao couldn't help laughing. "You're still laughing?" Chen Jun blushed and glared at him. "I will still update it in the early morning. After all, the friends who follow this book are used to it. After it is released, the update time will be adjusted to noon when the VIP chapters are opened tilde. There is another very important thing, that is whether this book can be published on Sanjiang next. We will know the result this week. This week is the final sprint. Please follow the monthly ticket to see if it can be published. Chapter 95, regarding the update time. It will not be adjusted for the time being tilde. It's still early morning, after all. The friends who follow this book are used to it. Brothers and sisters who don't like staying up late can just wake up in the morning and watch it, and they can see the latest updates right away. After it is put on the shelves, the update time will be adjusted to noon when the VIP chapter is opened tilde. There is something very important. That is, whether this book can be on Sanjiang next. We will know this week. This week is the final sprint. Everyone please follow the monthly ticket to see if it can make it tilde. Chapter 96. Fainted as Sakura, please read and vote for me tilde. With each other's eyes, the whole world still has time. It seemed as if everything stopped at this moment. Wu Jiantao slowly moved forward, and Chen Jun subconsciously stepped back. Seeing this, he immediately changed direction, raised his head slightly, and gently touched her forehead. The girl then stopped resisting subconsciously and let him kiss her forehead. Being bitten by this, Chen Jun's face became even hotter, as if smoke was coming out of her head. Her body was limp and she had lost the ability to think. Wu Jiantao, who had succeeded, immediately let his lips glide across her eyes, which she had closed involuntarily, and her nose, when he was about to land on her cherry lips. With a click, the bedroom door opened. "Xiaojun," someone's familiar, careless voice came in, and then the voice paused, and immediately a strange cry came out. Wu. Chen Jun jumped up immediately. She didn't have a baby in her arms at the moment. She struggled to break free from Wu Jiantao's hands, turned around and rushed into the bathroom, closing the door with a bang. In the room, Wu Jiantao just watched her run away, subconsciously stretched out his hand, and helplessly fished in the air. It wasn't that he didn't have the ability to grab the girl, but the moment he grabbed her, Chen Jun's will to resist was so strong that he subconsciously let go. Well, from the contact just now, although the girl has begun to fall in love with him, it is obvious that the two of them are more than friends but not in a relationship. It is true that there is sweetness, but The time they had spent together was too short. The girl felt that she didn't know Wu Jiangtao well enough and was still in the stage of worrying about gains and losses. She was not yet at the point where she could give herself to him without reservation. Just, if they can seize the opportunity, the two will most likely move past this stage and go one step further. Unfortunately, due to someone's intrusion, the plan to increase intimacy was directly interrupted, and Wu Jiangtao also split on the spot. At this moment, he was really depressed and couldn't help but turn around and glare at Li Xiaoshan, who suddenly appeared and ruined his good thing. On this side, Li Xiaoshan was also very depressed. I just came here excitedly to complain to my bestie about someone's iron attributes these days, but I never thought I would see such a scene as soon as I came in. This wave of dog food caught her off guard, and it was like a knife stabbing her heart. Li Xiaoshan couldn't help but raise her hand to cover her heart. She was so depressed that she didn't even say hello to Wu Jiangtao and just turned around and left. And in the bedroom, Wu Jiangtao, wait, before you leave, would you please apologize to me first? What? Walking through the corridor and into the living room, Li Xiaoshan saw the elders from families 9 and 3 sitting and chatting. Except for a few who had left earlier, most of them were still there. Well, the relatives who stayed at the scene were divided into 2 distinct groups. The older group went to 902 to play finger-guessing games and drink, while the group in their 20s and teens all gathered at 903. God, please lead us. But the young man from the Chen family, who had come before, brought 3 or 4 young people and gathered in front of Old Man Wu. While talking to the old man, he introduced the young people around him. Grandpa Wu is the famous spring and autumn war god in the pesticide circle. Although the other friends don't like playing King of Glory as much as this guy, they also like it very much. They also pay attention to some professional competitions and interesting things in the circle. Naturally, they all know the very famous spring and autumn god of war in the circle. All of a sudden, a group of friends turned into fans, surrounded the old man in 5 rows, and went straight into the ranking battle. On the side, both Grandpa Chen and Grandma Chen had strange looks on their faces, but they were also a little envious in their hearts. They could share the same interests as young people and get along well with them, which was something they couldn't do. Well, don't say that to him in front of him. He is the kind of person who shines brightly with a little sunshine and dares to open a dying room with a little color. Grandma Wu was sitting and chatting with her in-laws, and she directly exposed the other person's past, saying that there was a time when he was cheated by someone and lost his temper and couldn't eat. Later, he specially added the other person as a game friend and invited him to a ranked battle, and he only felt relieved after he cheated back. This is simply an old child. Mr. and Mrs. Wu, as well as Mr. Chen, who was also present, were all laughing and crying. Because of the coming of several young guys, the originally quiet conversation here has become much more lively. Fortunately, the house has good sound insulation, otherwise they would shout things like, "I'm here to catch someone. Don't group together, just focus on your development first. From now on, just listen to my instructions and ambush in the grass," and would definitely disturb the 2 babies in the bedroom. If the baby is disturbed, Grandma Wu will definitely quarrel with the old man and drive them all away, and go to 902 to play with eggs and make a fuss with the children. What are you talking about? Walking through these living rooms filled with lively atmosphere and laughter, Li Xiaoshan's face fell a little. Single people rush into sweet situations, but the consequence is that they are hit by the sudden sweetness and their mentality collapses. At this moment, the girl couldn't stop roaring in her heart. I don't want to be a dog. I really don't want to be a dog anymore. She walked out of 903 droopingly, and suddenly a familiar tall figure appeared in front of her. It was Yuan Huang. What's wrong with you? You don't look well. Looking at the girl, he felt a little confused. Wasn't he chatting and laughing with me just now? His face was rosy and full of energy. Why is he so listless now? Li Xiaoshan was about to say something but stopped herself. She was about to complain about Chen Jun's bad friend, but then she thought that she seemed to be messing with someone else's good things, so she was silent for a while. Can you accompany me to walk downstairs? Okay. Yuan Huang nodded and looked at the girl strangely. When he was with her before, this girl was always laughing and seemed to be someone who was easy to talk to but difficult to approach. What happened to her today? Did you receive a WeChat message from your ex-boyfriend saying he's getting married? He secretly guessed in his heart that he would have to comfort her well later. What? On the other side, in the bathroom, Chen Jun stood in front of the floor-length mirror, covering her face, watching the wisps of white smoke coming out of her head. Her face was bright red, and her big eyes were full of light as if there was a clear spring flowing in them. Her face is as red as a cherry, and her eyes are full of spring. This scene is really, the spring mountains are all shy and silent. He actually did to me. But hasn't he expressed his feelings to me yet? Does he really want to marry me? Why did he suddenly become like this today? Standing in the bathroom, Chen Jun's thoughts were a little confused for a while. He felt happy but also a little uneasy. Chapter 97. Honest and cute, please read and vote for me, Tilda. Compared to the ups and downs now, before, the two of them were so ordinary, and they gradually developed a tacit understanding with each other, and then slowly got closer. She is most adaptable to, and likes this kind of life and emotional state the most. If one were to describe her emotions, they would be slow-moving and peaceful. She felt sweetness, but also nervousness and confusion about this sudden and drastic change. This is also related to her relatively calm, serious, and pragmatic personality. Knock, knock, knock. There was a knock from Wu Jiantao on the bathroom door. She didn't answer. Then she heard Wu Jiantao's very attractive subwoofer voice from outside the door. Zyarajan, do you mind what I did just now? I couldn't help myself. Are you okay? Ahem. A low reply came from the girl in the bathroom. After hearing this ambiguous answer, Wu Jiantao didn't know what was going on with this girl. Was she simply shy, or was she angry about his behavior? He didn't know what to say for a moment. At this moment, Chen Jun in the bathroom called him. Jiang Tao. I am here. I'm fine, but can you let me stay in the room alone for a while? You can come in later. I'm a little scared of you now. Afraid of me? Wu Jiangtao, could it be possible that I could eat you? Oh. The opportunity was fleeting. After changing his mind, he began to understand Chen Jun's situation. It seemed that she was at a stage where she couldn't refuse but couldn't accept it yet. He could vaguely guess it, but he couldn't be 100% sure of it. If it were a playboy at this moment, he would be able to immediately and clearly judge Chen Jun's mentality, and then use his means, using any common but super effective routine to directly bypass this level and easily capture the girl's heart. Although this will lay some hidden dangers for the future, such masters are well aware of this and will slowly resolve them in the days to come. Outside the door, the lovely and frank Wu Jiangtao actually heard it, turned around and left the room honestly. At the same time, Wu Jiangtao could never imagine that at this moment, Chen Jun was leaning against the door in the bathroom, with a red ear against the door, listening to the noise outside, and clearly heard the sound of the bedroom door closing. Bump! The slight vibration of the door closing was transmitted clearly to the girl's ears. Only then did she calm down and let out a long breath of hot air. Finally left. She was very worried and afraid that someone would come back to attack her, so she stayed in this small bathroom for a while, and waited until she was sure that there was no other movement outside. Click, the bathroom door opened. The next moment, Chen Jun's little head poked out cautiously and little by little. This situation, if Wu Jiangtao couldn't help laughing when she was there, she would just be embarrassed and angry, but if Li Xiaoshan was there, it can be imagined that the girl would definitely burst out laughing on the spot, and then mock her rudely and mercilessly, and she would definitely want to die on the spot, over and over again. Unfortunately, Wu Jiangtao did not get to see this incredibly adorable sight of his wife, because another person came in. Almost as soon as the girl stuck her head out, the door of the bedroom opened. Could it be him? Chen Jun's eyes widened immediately, and when he was about to shrink them, he saw that it was his mother who came in, looking at him with a puzzled expression. The mother and daughter stared at each other. What are you doing? Forehead. Chen Jun realized that his current actions were somewhat cute. She quickly pushed open the bathroom door, walked out, and immediately returned to normal. It's okay, I just seem to hear some noise. Noise, there is no movement at all. Soon, Mr. Mo stretched his head and imitated his daughter's action, leaning sideways and stretching his head. Excuse me, big baby, how old are you? Mom. Chen Jun suddenly felt a little embarrassed and annoyed. At this time, Mr. Mo finally realized that there was something wrong with his daughter's expression. Tusk, this expression. What's happening? On this lively night, the full-month banquet for the two cute babies finally ended, and the relatives of the Wu and Chen families began to leave one after another. Of course, there were a few people who left in a somewhat special way. No need to help me, I can still drink. Wu Kuishu 666, you lose drink. Okay, I'll drink it. The seventh senior brother from the Wu family martial arts school supported the fourth uncle of the Chen family, while the other senior brothers supported the others. All the uncles of the Chen family drank until their faces were red and their mouths were full of nonsense. Sometimes they struggled to get up and challenged someone to play finger-guessing games, and sometimes they wanted to drink with someone else. Fortunately, the fellow disciples of the Wu family martial arts school controlled their drinking very well today and did not let them drink to the point of vomiting. They only drank to the point of having to walk with the support of the wall. Well, this is just a small scene for their fellow disciples. Father Chen looked at this scene speechless. I heard Lao Si bragging before about how much he could drink, and how he even got a warrior down drunk somewhere. He said that warriors are twice as good as the average person, so my alcohol tolerance is twice as good as that of warriors. Yes, Ning is awesome. Then why don't you get all your fellow disciples from the Wu family martial arts school drunk today? As for the energetic young men from the Chen family, they played several games with Old Man Wu. Only after being urged by their elders did they reluctantly quit the game and put away their mobile phones. Grandpa Wu, let's log into the game later and rank together again. Oh, Mom, don't rush me. I'm adding Grandpa Wu as a game friend. These youngsters were amazed by the old man's tactics and operations in these ranking battles, and they all admired him very much. Seeing this scene, the Chen family was speechless. This old man Wu is really special. However, the Chen family had supported what Mr. Mo had said before. The Wu family is not a simple family, especially Wu Zhanyang and Grandpa Wu. They have a high status in the martial arts world of southeastern China, but they have retired for many years. In addition, with China's vigorous rectification of domestic security, the so-called martial arts world in the past has long become a thing of the past. Over the years, the father and son have gradually become unknown. Nowadays, in the Wu family martial arts school, most of the disciples who have successfully learned martial arts and left their master are in the military and police systems. Just like Yuan Huang, the fifth disciple of Wu Dad, he is the captain of the Tiger Roar team of the Q City Police Department. He has made many achievements and has a bright future. As for the others, except for a few who were in the security system like Yuan Huang, Ms. Mo could not find relevant information about the others. Seeing the bodyguard Xiao Yi's secretive look, she immediately understood that the identities of the other disciples of the Wu family martial arts school might be even more complicated. Chapter 98. Good night. Please read and vote for me, Tilda. The night was late, and the banquet here was over. The elders of the Wu and Chen families also got into the cars arranged by the younger generations and headed to the hotel near the university town. Mother Wu did not stay at 903 tonight, but followed Father Wu and several other elderly people to stay in a hotel. As for Mr. Mo and Mr. Chen, they returned to 902. Although a banquet was held here tonight, the fellow disciples from the Wu family martial arts school were quick and efficient in cleaning up the place after the banquet. Call. Ms. Mo sat on the sofa with simple lines and let out a long breath. Mr. Chen came over and stretched out his hand to massage her shoulders. Are you exhausted? Although today's full-month banquet was strictly speaking a happy event, Mo Wan always had a feeling of emptiness. She said in a muffled voice, "We didn't get the marriage certificate, didn't hold the wedding banquet, so we held the baby's full-month banquet first. Although my parents and my uncle didn't say anything today, I still feel a little uncomfortable." As she spoke, she revealed a hint of regret. "It's all my fault. It's all my fault. Old Chen, I regret it so much. If I had known it would be like this, I would have." It's okay, it's okay. Dad Chen quickly comforted her. "Isn't it good now? At least my parents like Xiao Wu very much. I have also seen it in the past few days. He is a good child who can make a living. At least he is much better than when we were young. He can stay with his daughter well. I just feel uncomfortable." Although she had just been scolding her daughter, when she sat down to chat with her husband, Ms. Mo, who had always been very strong in front of others, took off her mask and finally revealed her weak side. I know. Chen Chu hugged his wife, whose eyes were red with some heartache. It's okay. Fortunately, Xiaoran has good taste and was able to pick such a good boy. I know. Mr. Mo sniffed softly, but people always change. I'm a little worried whether Xiao Wu will always be so nice to Xiao Jun. Father Chen was speechless for a moment, but he still patiently comforted her. It's okay. Children and grandchildren have their own blessings. Most things in life are not something we can fully predict and control. I believe that our daughter will be able to handle work and life problems independently in the future, and you should believe in her. But, suddenly, Ms. Mo tilted her head slightly in front of her husband and made a curious gesture. But when I went to look for my daughter just now, I found that she was still making such innocent gestures. She is already a mother of 2 children, but she is still not in a proper state. I am really worried about her now. She didn't know that the action she just made had instantly opened up Chen's father's long-forgotten memories. 20 years ago, no, more than 30 years ago, when I first saw her, the bright and youthful girl carefully poked her head out from behind the curtain like this. The neat black braids, the beautiful wheat-colored cheeks, and the pair of big, dark, bright eyes were looking over timidly. This scene, this expression, this look, it was as if she had reunited with the girl she was back then. Youth is no longer a rule, perhaps, but beauty can transcend time and space. Temporary. It is also a lifetime. Meanwhile, as Ms. Mo was talking, she suddenly felt something was wrong. She stopped and looked at her husband inexplicably, watching him slowly approach her and staring at her with increasingly fiery eyes. Her face turned slightly red, and her heart was beating fast. "Why are you looking at me? Are you listening to me?" Whoosh, Dad Chen picked her up by the waist in a mighty and domineering manner and walked inside. Are you? Chen Chu, what are you doing? We are already an old married couple, put me down." "No." Snap, boom. The door opened and the door closed. On the other side, in the master bedroom of 903, Daodu and Mayo Mio have finished their milk, put on dry diapers, and fell asleep in the baby crib. On the bed, Chen Jun, who had gone out for a physical examination today and entertained relatives and friends in the evening, was also very tired. He lay on his side on the bed and had already fallen asleep peacefully. As the night deepened, Wu Jiantao, who was lying on the recliner, suddenly turned over and sat up gently. Moonlight poured into the room from the window, giving him enough light. Wu Jiantao put on his slippers and went to the bathroom first. When he came out, he couldn't help but turn his head to look at the sleeping girl on the bed. Instead of returning to the recliner, he turned slightly and came to the bed. Taking advantage of the faint moonlight in the room, Wu Jiantao sat down and quietly looked at her peaceful and serene features, and what appeared before his eyes was. But it was the smile and frown on Chen Jun's face when he looked at him at night. Well, that angry look, although there is no curved eyebrows, is better than a smile. Whenever I think of Wu Jiantao, I can't help but curl up the corners of my mouth. I didn't expect that she was a very quiet and peaceful girl when we first got along. I didn't expect. After spending a long time together, she gradually revealed the innocence, naivety, and liveliness that a girl should have, and she was so cute and touching. As he watched, Wu Jiantao couldn't help but bend down and gently touch her forehead. This girl was actually the mother of his 2 babies. She would most likely stay with him for the rest of his life. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel overwhelmed. "I don't know. Am I just liking your good looks, or is it some kind of disgusting love or something? I'm only sure of one thing, that is, I'm really happy to be able to accompany you and take care of you and the baby." The sound was so soft that the girl on the bed didn't hear it at all. She was still sleeping, her breathing soft and long. Wu Jiantao had anticipated this. As a martial artist, he was very sensitive to breathing, and he could clearly tell whether someone was asleep or not. There was no such bloody scene of a girl pretending to be asleep. Everything is so natural. "Good night." He leaned over gently and touched the girl's forehead lightly. Then Wu Jiantao got up and lay down on the recliner. He picked up the blanket to cover his stomach, closed his eyes, and slowly fell asleep. But Wu Jiantao didn't know that after he fell asleep, the girl who was sleeping soundly on the bed suddenly stretched out her hand and made a pushing motion, mumbling in her sleep, Don't, Wu." She didn't know what she was dreaming about. Her face was flushed and her ears were burning. I don't know what kind of hooliganism the girl encountered in her dream. Chapter 99 this night. I will hold you and ask for your monthly ticket, Tilda. On such a night, some people here return to the passionate days of that year and that day, while others encounter blushing and heart-pounding treatment in their dreams. In the master bedroom of 903, a shrill cry of a child was heard, waking someone up from his dream. As soon as Chen Jun got up, he immediately leaned over to pick up his sister and couldn't help but put his hand on his cheek. Sizzling hot. I didn't know, I thought it was a fever. Even though I knew it was a dream, it was just a dream. I couldn't help but look up at Wu Jiantao, who was sleeping soundly on the other side of the baby's bed. As she watched, her beautiful eyebrows gradually stood up. My sister didn't wake him up even with all the noise she made, so I had to do it myself while thinking. The more I think about it, the angrier I get. Holding her sister, she moved her body gently, little by little to the bedside, and then lifted his foot. On the recliner, Wu Jiantao, who had prepared 5 tables of delicious meals today, was extremely tired and fell into a deep sleep. He was also dreaming that he was fighting with someone on a ring. The opponent was very strong. Every punch and kick he threw was powerful and tough, tricky and fierce. Although he could clearly see through the opponent's moves, his body inexplicably felt powerless, and he was always a beat slow. He was beaten left and right and retreated step by step. Hateful. In the dream, he couldn't see the other person's appearance clearly, and his anger gradually grew. He tried hard to open his eyes wide to see the other person's appearance clearly. Counterattack, counterattack. Wu Jiantao, who was forced to retreat to the corner, finally roared and rushed forward. The next moment, the opponent's appearance finally came into view. Clear black eyebrows, eyes as bright as spring water, full eye bags under the eyes. Such a pair of extremely familiar eyes, like a solitary orchid in a valley, were staring at him. Glare. In the dream, Wu Jiantao was so frightened by this scene that he raised his hands. Boom! He was hit hard by the kick and fell to the ground. When he landed on the ground with a nimble flip in mid-air, he was horrified to find that the entire ring behind him had flipped over, and there was nothing under the ring but a bottomless abyss. Wu Jiantao felt a pang in his heart in the dream, but he couldn't take any effective action. Boom! This guy fell headfirst to the ground. He woke up and sat up, holding his nose. The rest of his body was fine, but his nose, which had landed directly on the ground, was a little painful. A wave of pain rushed straight to his forehead, and Wu Jiantao couldn't help but grimace. It hurts, Xiaojun, why are you up? Chen Jun was holding Daodu and feeding her. There was a look of surprise on her face when she looked over. To be honest, when Wu Jiantao suddenly turned over when he kicked her just now, she was really scared. At that time, the girl was really prepared to be beaten, but she never thought. Wu Jiantao, who was half asleep and half awake, just turned over and looked like he was going to attack him. But when the time came, he suddenly withdrew his hands and let his feet fall on him. As the recliner was shaking, the guy in the chair fell face down on the ground. Ai. Chen Jun's eyes were wandering. After all, Wu Jiantao had helped her kick him hard. It's okay, the baby is awake. I'll get up to feed him. Oh. Wu Jiantao rubbed his nose. He was half asleep and a little confused after the fall. He muttered, strange, why do I feel like someone kicked me? A certain girl suddenly felt guilty. After all, he was a warrior, so Wu Jiantao quickly regained consciousness. He had just been kicked by someone. The force wasn't that great, but it was mainly because he was on the edge of the recliner when he turned over. The kick made him lose his balance for a moment, and the recliner flipped over. In addition, he was so half asleep that he couldn't react immediately. This is why Wu Ma said that practical training should be put on the agenda for this kid. If he had gone through practical training, he would have reacted instantly and counterattacked or dodged. Of course, in the situation just now, it is impossible to counterattack. It is impossible to counterattack in this lifetime. This guy thought for a moment. He and Chen Jun were the only ones in the room, so he already had solid evidence of who kicked him, so he could put him in handcuffs. Bah, what are you thinking? Wu Jiantao looked at the girl speechlessly and asked a question that penetrated the depths of her soul. Did you kick me? Soon, Chen Jun's little head kept shaking from side to side, his eyes wandering, and he lied for the first time in his life. No, I don't know, it's not me. Wu Jiantao stared at her. Why is this girl so cute, even when she looks guilty, and shaking her head while lying? Did you call me but couldn't wake me up? Hearing this, Chen Jun nodded immediately, but when he saw Wu Jiantao's half-smiley eyes, he immediately realized that something was wrong and quickly shook his head. No, I didn't kick you. She continued to cheat. It's okay. If you can't wake me up next time, just kick me. Wu Jiantao grinned, came over, took Daodu, who had eaten his fill and was sleeping soundly, from her arms and put him back in the baby bed. She quickly covered her granary and turned around to zip it back up. Before today, Chen Jun, who had long been accustomed to it, would definitely be very natural and would not have any special reaction. But from this evening until now, some barriers have been broken, and the relationship between the two has become somewhat indescribable. This made her a little shy. Haha, no, we are an old married couple. Why are you shy? Seeing her like this, Wu Jiantao was really happy and couldn't help but come up to her and tease her. Who's your old wife? Who's your old wife? Upon hearing this, Chen Jun's pretty eyebrows suddenly raised slightly, and she couldn't help but reach out her hand as if to pinch. Not old, not old. Our Xiaojun is still young, only 28 years old. Get out. He actually dared to say that he was old. Chen Xiaojun was so angry that he couldn't help but raise his foot to kick him again. Oops. Wu Jiantao, who was kicked again, staggered exaggeratedly and fell directly on the bed. It's over, my old waist. It's broken. Chen Jun rolled her eyes, not wanting to pay any attention to him. She turned around and hugged her brother Mio Mio, who was still half asleep. Soon, brother Mio Mio was full too. Chen Jun put him back in the baby bed and he fell asleep soundly. After feeding, she turned around and saw someone tossing and turning on the bed. Get up. Chen Jun called this guy out in a reproachful manner. Wu Jiantao covered the spot where he had just been kicked, his face full of pain, and groaned. I can't take it anymore, I'm seriously injured. I have to get treatment. She laughed without getting angry, raised her hand and slapped him. Come, I will give you treatment. Treatment. Every word of treatment was accompanied by a slap, a very hard one. Wu Jiantao let out a few strange cries and then stopped moving. He fainted, and his slippers were placed beside the bed, and the quilt was neatly covered on his body. In this situation, how could Chen Jun not know Wu Jiangtao's plan? Her face suddenly turned red. "Come down. Someone is in a faint. Wu Jiantao, you rascal. Get out of bed, I want to sleep." Someone continued to pretend to be dead. Chen Jun was so angry that he climbed onto the bed, lifted the quilt, and kicked him again. Well, just now I was able to kick him, and the chair over with one kick. Now I can definitely kick this drama queen, scoundrel and stinky hooligan under the bed. But for Wu Jiantao, what could be better than having Zaira Bekai come to his door? Oops. With a scream, he accepted the soft and tender feet with a smile, and took them along. By the time Chen Jun reacted, he found himself leaning in a warm, strong, and powerful arm. The next moment, he felt a familiar breath and touch on his forehead. Sleep. The magnetic sound of the subwoofer, accompanied by a warm breath, came. Chen Jun was a little confused at first, and then her whole face turned red and her ears were burning. This night, hold me. Chapter 100 is so miserable. Please read the monthly ticket tilde. Early morning. The sunlight shone through the gaps in the curtains, making the whole room bright. Suddenly, a little bird fluttered its wings and landed outside the window. It tilted its head, as if looking at something on the glass bed. Then it pecked at the window and pecked again. Bang, bang, banged. There was some noisy sound coming from the window glass, which finally woke up the person on the bed. Chen Jun woke up in a daze and subconsciously stretched herself. But the next moment, she found that her waist seemed to be clamped by something. Ugh! She screamed and subconsciously tried to break free from this warm and strong embrace. But then she remembered someone's rogue behavior last night, and her face turned red again. Stop making trouble. Wu Jiantao was still asleep. He mumbled something and subconsciously hugged the warm and beautiful girl in his arms tightly. Chen Jun's face was red and her heart was beating fast. She clearly felt. She struggled to pull away the hands that were holding her, and she gradually freed herself from his embrace. She immediately sat on the bed and fanned her blushing face with both hands. It was really not easy to break free from someone's arms. It took a lot of effort, and Chen Jun was sweating. Turning her head, she gave the guy a hateful look and couldn't help but kick him again. Well, we have to beat this guy while he is sleeping. Anyway, he has thick skin and strong muscles from martial arts training, so he must be very resistant to beatings. Besides, there is a quilt between us. Boom. Chen Jun was stunned. Wait, why did this kick seem to hit something? Almost at the same time, Wu Jiantao, who was sleeping soundly on the bed, suddenly raised his head and widened his eyes. He let out a scream, covered his body with his hands, and curled up like a cooked shrimp. Chen Jun, although she was a little embarrassed, she also realized how inhumane her kick was and hurried forward. Jiangtao, are you okay? Are you hurt? What are you doing? Someone accused with a sad and angry look on his face. Bah, it's all your own fault. You murdered your own husband. It hurts. Wu Jiangtao had just recovered, and he quickly sat up and turned around. Well, check the situation quickly. As he watched, he muttered quietly, "If I don't even have this kind of feeling, then you are the one who is miserable. Why are you turning around? Let me help you." Chen Jun came over, and before she could finish her words, her beautiful eyes suddenly widened. At this moment, the two of them stared at each other. Wu Jiantao looked up in astonishment, only to see Chen Jun, with a red face, quickly turn around, go into the bathroom, and close the door. It seems like from the moment I woke up until now, it has been you doing something to me, instead of what I did to you. Ning's reaction is too much. In the bathroom, Chen Jun covered his eyes, feeling a little overwhelmed. Chen Jun, you have to be brave. You have to be brave. This is not the first time we've seen each other. It's okay, it's okay. Take a deep breath, take a deep breath. Inhale, exhale. Slowly, her mood finally calmed down. She picked up her toothbrush and toothpaste and started to wash up. At this moment, there was a light knock on the door. Wait a minute, I haven't finished washing up yet. Chen Jun calmly replied after calming down. No, I actually wanted to tell Ning a long time ago that this is the second time Ning has seen me through. The last time he even got his hands on me. You have to be responsible for me. Roll, she replied through gritted teeth. After changing clothes outside, Wu Jiantao walked out of the room with a sly smile and went to prepare breakfast first. In the bathroom, the girl blushed again, put down her toothbrush and cup angrily, and started to use facial cleanser. Well, it's the kind that's specially for pregnant women. Before pregnancy, she would usually apply lotion and sunscreen after washing her face with cleanser. But now she is still breastfeeding, so she definitely can't use it. Now that the baby is still breastfeeding, She cannot use the cosmetics and skin care products she used before pregnancy. Some ingredients in these things will enter the body and have some adverse effects on breast milk. She had studied these things carefully when she was pregnant, memorized them carefully, and followed them strictly. After washing up, Chen Jun turned around and pressed the door handle. When he was about to go out, he suddenly sensed something. He pushed the door open silently and carefully stuck his head out. And Mr. Mo, who had just entered the room, had just walked to the baby's bed. Before he had time to look down at the baby, he saw his daughter opening the door in exactly the same way as yesterday. At this moment, both mother and daughter blushed. "Mom, why didn't you tell me you were here?" Chen Jun blushed because she was embarrassed to be caught like this by her mother. After all, she had criticized her yesterday. As for the reason why Mr. Mo was blushing, "Is my dad up yet? Let him come over here to have breakfast later." It would have been fine if he hadn't said this. But once he did, Mr. Mo's face turned even redder. "Mom," Chen Jun looked at her mother in confusion. "Is she not feeling well?" Look at her face. She obviously doesn't have any makeup on. But her face is so fair, rosy, and shiny, it doesn't look like she is. Your dad went to bed a little late last night and is still sleeping now. Call him later. It's okay." Mr. Mo tried to calm down and looked down at the two big babies in the baby bed. "How many times did Daodu and Mia wake up yesterday? Is it regular?" "Twice. It's pretty regular now." Mr. Mo nodded. "The baby is still young now, so he may continue to wake up at night for 10 days or half a month. When he grows up a little bit, he will sleep through the night and won't wake up and make a fuss." Chen Jun changed her clothes and went to the living room with her mother, where Wu Jiantao had already made soy milk, and took out the chicken soup dumplings and red steamed buns that he had packed and stored earlier from the freezer of the refrigerator. Well, there was a lot of soup made from the chicken and duck that Wu Ma brought over before, and he couldn't finish it even with the soup. So Wu Jiantao simply wrapped the soup into dumplings and made them into soup dumplings. If they are put in the freezer, they will be fine for at least 4 or 5 days. Since I was making pastries, I also made other pastries suitable for Chen Jun to eat. There are also red steamed buns, which are quite suitable for her to eat now. "What? Mom, have breakfast. I'll go call my dad," Chen Jun said as she turned around and was about to walk outside. A blush appeared on Boss Mo's face. He quickly stood up and held his daughter. "Wait, no need, I'll go call." Forehead. "I always feel like my mom is acting weird today, but Chen Jun can't tell what's wrong." All right, I'll go and call them. Just sit down and eat your breakfast." Chapter 101, Tusk, please read the monthly ticket. Ms. Mo's physical energy consumption was extremely high last night, but she didn't care about her rumbling stomach. She turned around and left 9:03 and returned to 9:02. Wu Jiantao watched his mother-in-law leave and turned to look at Chen Jun. The two looked at each other. "AI, don't you think your mother is acting strange this morning?" he asked. Chen Jun nodded. "I felt it too, especially the complexion. I felt several years younger. Maybe it's because I've finished with the things here, so I'm happy." Wu Jiantao didn't say much. He picked up a soup dumpling filled with chicken soup and put it in Chen Jun's bowl. "You should eat more of this. It's good for your health. This is all the chicken soup I made the day before yesterday." The two chatted while eating. About 5 or 6 minutes later, Wu Jiantao was eating when suddenly, puff! At the dinner table, he had just taken a sip of soy milk when he suddenly lowered his head and sprayed it into the bowl. "Call." He was a warrior after all, so even though he choked, he immediately controlled his breathing and blew out a breath slowly from his chest, pushing out the soy milk that had gotten into his trachea. Chen Jun next to him, unable to resist giving him a glare of reproach, she pulled a few tissues from the side and said, "What are you doing? You can even choke when drinking soy milk." As he was talking, 2 footsteps were heard from the door. He saw the unhappy Mr. Mo and Chen's father walking in from outside. Chen Jun quickly turned around to look, but I saw that Father Chen was frowning, holding his old waist with both hands and rubbing it constantly. "Hey, Dad, what's wrong with you? Is your waist hurting?" Hearing his daughter's words, Dad Chen couldn't help but show a hint of embarrassment on his face. At the side, Mr. Mo's eyes flashed with embarrassment, but he still said unhappily, "It's okay. Your father was too tired from work before. It's an old problem. Oh, I'll use moxa sticks to give him moxibustion on his lower back later." At the dining table, Wu Jiantao, with his mouth twitching, put his fist against his mouth, enduring very hard, not being able to laugh. These were his father-in-law and mother-in-law, although he didn't know why they were so passionate. But being energetic is a good thing. Well, good thing. Let's go back a few minutes. Mr. Chen, who was sleeping late, was pulled out of bed by Mr. Mo as soon as he sat up. He frowned and rubbed his lower back. Wife, rub it for me first. Mr. Mo rolled his eyes and said, get up, wash up, and have breakfast. After that, I'll give you a massage. Dad Chen had no choice but to get up obediently, go to the bathroom to brush his teeth and wash his face, then go to 903 with his wife. As he walked, he kept rubbing his waist. You. Seeing this scene, Mr. Mo felt distressed and speechless, angry and amused. You really think you are a young man in your 20s and you keep doing it. I will make you do it again and again. I will make you do it again and again. The more she spoke, the angrier she became, and she couldn't help but raise her hand and slap him. Dad Chen, who was suffering from back pain, couldn't help but stagger after being slapped. It hurts, it hurts. He quickly begged for mercy. At the same time, at 903, Wu Jiangtao, who was separated from them by the entrance corridor, choked on a mouthful of soy milk. Well, now with his skills and physical fitness constantly improving, his 5 senses are quite sharp, and he can hear clearly the movements outside the gate. Tusk, tusk, tusk. Watching Father Chen approaching, holding onto the back of the chair and slowly sitting down, Wu Jiangtao slowly exhaled the laughter in his chest. Aunt, since my uncle's waist is uncomfortable, let's give him moxibustion first. He spoke quickly. Seeing Mo Wan's gaze, Wu Jiangtao continued. Moxibustion is usually done about an hour after a meal. I think your uncle is really uncomfortable like this, so let's do some moxibustion first and then have breakfast. Oh, I see, that's fine too. Wu Jiangtao quickly got up and went to the kitchen cabinet to find 2 moxibustion boxes, 2 small wormhood sticks, and a large and thick wormhood stick. Zio Wu, you eat first, I can do this by myself. Mo Wan was about to take these things, but Wu Jiangtao did not hand them to her. He shook his head and smiled. I'm full. It's okay, Auntie, let me do it. By the way, I'll tell you some precautions for moxibustion. That's fine. Wu Jiangtao turned around, went to the kitchen, cut a few slices of ginger and put them into the moxibustion box. Generally speaking, moxibustion combined with ginger slices is called ginger moxibustion. It can not only treat body pain, but also play a role in dispelling cold and dampness, and can also prevent burns. Looking at this scene, Mr. Mo was also a little curious. Is this ancient treatment really effective for my husband's back pain? Well, we'll find out later. Wu Jiangtao put ginger into the moxibustion box, lit 2 small moxa sticks, put them into the box, and called Chen's father to come over and lie on the sofa. Then he turned the temperature of the 2 moxibustion boxes to medium-low temperature, tied them behind Chen's father's knees, and aimed them at the Weizhang acupoint. Aunt, the skin around the Weizhang acupoint is not as rough as other places. It is relatively tender, and there are blood vessels all over it. Remember, you must be careful about the temperature. Uncle, if you feel hot later, you must tell me, otherwise the burn will be counterproductive. Good. Dad Chen nodded. Immediately, Wu Jiangtao stretched out his hand, pointed at a few points on his lower back, and said to Mo Wan, these 2 points are Shenshu points. The middle of these 2 points is Mingmen Point. Further down is Yaoyongyuan Point, and the Yaoyan points on both sides. Sometimes the lower back pain will be biased to the left or right. If it is biased to the left, it is correct to apply moxibustion to the Yaoyan point on that side. If it is biased to the left, moxibustion the Yaoyan point on the left more. The same goes for the right. Also near the coccyx, this point is the Yaoshu point. Moxibustion at this point can not only treat low back pain, but also prevent and treat sciatica. Oh. Mr. Mo wrote down all these matters carefully. At this time, Wu Jiangtao had already lit another larger moxa stick and started moxibustion on Chen's father's Shenshu and Mingmen acupoints. Just like massage, moxibustion is also done from top to bottom. Auntie, you can moxibustion here first, then move down to moxibustion Yaoyongyuan and Yaoyan acupoints, and finally Yaoshu acupoint. As he spoke, he asked Father Chen, Uncle, do you feel hot in your lower back? No, it's just right. Phew. After you moxibustion me like this, my waist immediately feels much better. Next, Mr. Mo took the moxa stick from Wu Jiangtao's hand, sat next to Wu's father, and began to give him moxibustion on his lower back. Seeing her start moxibustion, Wu Jiangtao seemed to have thought of something and hurriedly stepped forward and said to her, By the way, I heard from Zioajin that you often suffer from insomnia and headaches, right? Chapter 102, hesitantly asking for monthly tickets tilde. If that's the case, then when you're giving moxibustion to your uncle, you can also give moxibustion to yourself. Wu Jiangtao stepped forward with a smile. You can hold the moxa stick in one hand and moxibustion my uncle's lower back, and you can put your other hand close to the moxa stick and moxibustion the acupoints on your hand at the same time. As he spoke, he raised his palm, spread his thumb and index finger, and pointed his other thumb at a point slightly above the base of the palm. This is the Hegu point. Moxibustion here can regulate the meridians on the head and face, and can relieve and treat headaches. Immediately, Wu Jiantao clenched his fist again and pointed his other finger at his palm. This point between the middle finger and the ring finger when you make a fist is the Leagong acupoint. Moxibustion here has a good therapeutic effect on insomnia, depression, irritability, and neurasthenia. He patiently introduced many acupuncture points on the hands, such as Leek, Shaoshang, Yuji Haoxi, etc. Seeing that Mr. Mo was a little confused, he couldn't help but said with a smile, "You can find out these by looking them up on the internet. You can massage these acupuncture points more often. If conditions permit, you can use moxibustion. Slowly, your headache and insomnia will definitely get better." "What? Hey, don't say that." After about half an hour of moxibustion, Dad Chen turned over quickly, stretched his back, twisted his waist, and raised his hands and feet. "My old waist doesn't hurt at all, and my legs and feet seem to be much lighter." "Oh?" Mo Wan was full of surprise. Is the effect really that good? When she was applying moxibustion to Mr. Chen's waist just now, she alternated her hands and applied moxibustion to all the acupoints on her palms that Wu Jiantao had just mentioned. I felt it myself and found that the area from my palms to my arms was warm, and I felt much more refreshed. "Uncle, this relief is only temporary." Seeing the surprise on Chen's father's face, Wu Jiantao couldn't help shaking his head and said, "Moxibustion can be performed every day, and the back pain will disappear in about a week. But if you don't get enough rest, your back and waist will soon ache again. On weekdays, it's best to do more exercise to cooperate with the moxibustion treatment and eat more regularly." Sports. Speaking of this, Mr. Mo beside him couldn't help but turn his head and look over, and Father Chen also turned his head to look. The two looked at each other, and she couldn't help but give her husband a subtle look, feeling a little puzzled. What happened yesterday? Until now, she is still confused. They were an old couple and had been living a simple life for many years, but suddenly it changed. After the baby's full-month banquet, relatives from both families came over the next morning to sit for a while, then left one after another. "Tao Tao, you are now a professional warrior. What are your plans for the future?" Before leaving, Old Master Wu looked at Wu Jiantao and asked a question. "I originally thought that this little grandson's future would be the same as that of an ordinary person. He would work hurriedly after graduation, and after a few years of hard work, he would have some savings. Then, under the arrangement of his family, he would go on a blind date, get married, and have children. Unexpectedly, this kid suddenly gave such a big surprise this year. Not only did he skip the blind date and marriage and directly had a child, but more importantly, he suddenly made great progress in martial arts and entered the professional level. This morning, after doing morning exercises, the old man also personally tested Wu Jiangtao's cultivation and found that his physical fitness was incredibly strong. If the average basic physical fitness of a professional warrior is 1, he is at least at the level of 3. Based on this point, this kid's martial arts strength cannot be measured by common sense, and his future is promising. "This, I haven't thought about it yet." Wu Jiangtao pondered for a moment. "Now that M University knows that I have passed the martial arts professional certification, Director Wang of the Political Education Department found me and asked me if I would like to stay on campus and become an assistant teacher in the martial arts department. Teaching in the martial arts department of M University." Grandpa Wu nodded. "That's not bad, but your martial arts can't stop here. You have to find a way to improve your practical skills. Maybe you can join some martial arts training camps of the security department or go find Long Kid." Boy Long is Wu Jiantao's uncle Yuan Long. "Yes, I will." "Ha good." The old man looked pleased and patted Wu Jiantao on the shoulder. "Let's go. When the baby is older, bring him home more often so that Grandpa can take care of him." "Yes, Xiaojun." On the other side, Grandma Wu held her hand and said kindly, "If Tao Tao dares to bully you, just come to me. Although I am an old man, I am more than enough to deal with him." Wu Jiantao beside him. "Why do I feel like I've heard what Grandma said somewhere before?" Chen Jun nodded and said very obediently, "Yes, I will." Standing at the gate of Yunlu Garden, my eldest cousin and Father Wu drove over. The two old men turned around and got in the car. They waved to them one last time and drove away. Wu's mother originally wanted to stay and help take care of the baby, but her son strongly dissuaded her from doing so. He gave a lot of reasons, such as Xiaojun and I have taken good care of the baby now. She also likes the food I cook. Li Xiaoshan also comes over often and can help, and so on. But no one knows a child better than his mother. How could Mother Wu not see that Wu Jiantao was not sincere? But it's hard for Wu Ma to find out the exact reason, And it's even more impossible for Wu Jiantao to say that it was just to spend some time alone with his girlfriend as soon as possible. Well, of course, he was taking care of 2 babies while spending time alone with his girlfriend. It would be good to go back to Q City. Originally, she and Wu Dad were in charge of the martial arts school and the family. Wu Dad had to teach at the martial arts school during this period. After a tiring day, he had to cook, wash clothes, mop the floor, feed the chickens and ducks, and do all kinds of tedious housework when he got home. Although he didn't say anything, Wu Mom could already imagine what the family was like now. As for Wu Jiantao's practical martial arts training, it just so happens that Yuan Long will be in City F these days, so he can go to his uncle and receive his guidance. My uncle has been in the southern continent for many years. Although his brigade is very powerful and even has the support of the Security Bureau, it has also experienced life and death several times. His martial arts combat ability is unquestionable. In this respect alone, he is even slightly better than my uncle. However, after traveling in the southern continent for many years, Yuan Long's strongest point is no longer martial arts, but the gun fighting technique that integrates gun skills into martial arts. Over the years, countless star-level masters in the southern continent have been defeated by his gun fighting technique. Well, according to him, 10 steps away the gun is fast. Within 10 steps the gun is accurate and fast. In front of him, unless one is a martial arts master, no one can dodge his bullets within 10 steps. Sai, please take a day off. There is only one update today. My wife's father, my father-in-law, passed away last night. This week, because I was taking care of the elderly, my daily typing has dropped sharply, so the updates in the past 2 days may be affected a bit. I will try my best to ensure that I update twice a day, or at least once a day, and I will definitely not stop updating. But I don't have many manuscripts accumulated, so I have to take it easy. Also, with everyone's support, we will go to Sanjiang next week. It will be on the shelves next Friday. Zionin would like to express his huge gratitude here. After this matter is settled, I will try to write more next week and strive to have a burst of writing when it is put on the shelves next Friday. I will update at least 10,000 words, and I will definitely post more if I can write more. Everyone, please support me by voting for me every month. I will try my best to write a good one. Chapter 103. Farewell, please read and vote for me, Tilda. The Wu family had just left, and the Chen and Mo families who had come all the way from Kyoto were about to return. It was another farewell. After seeing Grandpa and Grandma off to the gate of the community, Chen Jun's face was full of reluctance, and she couldn't help but blushing. It was only now that she realized that she had not seen her grandparents for a long time. When she was a child, because her parents were too busy with work, she stayed at her grandparents' house most of the time. She was very close to the 2 elderly people. If she had not become pregnant and gave birth to a child last year, she would have gone back to her grandparents' house once a month. Silly child. Grandma Chen held her granddaughter's hand and said gently, "The only regret I have is that I wasn't able to be with you to take care of you when you were pregnant. Take good care of Daodu and Mayo Mio, and when they grow up, bring them home more often. Grandma still wants to watch the 2 babies grow up." She nodded vigorously. "I will. When the babies are older, I will take them home." As she spoke, Grandma Chen took Chen Jun's hand, then pulled Wu Jiangtao's hand from the side and put their palms together. Although Grandma has poor eyesight and hearing, she has a clear mind. Yesterday seemed to be the full moon banquet for the 2 babies, but it was actually the engagement banquet for the 2 of you. Grandma is an experienced person, and I just hope that you 2 can get along well and raise the baby. There will definitely be bumps and bruises in the days ahead, but this is the only way to have a good life. As for Grandma, I don't understand the complicated feelings of you young people nowadays, but I think Xiao Tao is an honest child. Pick a day and go get the marriage certificate as soon as possible. Remember to tell Grandpa and Grandma then, so that we can feel at ease. The old man looked at Wu Jiangtao again. Xiao Jun seems independent and strong, but she's actually a bit impulsive. If she gets angry, tell Grandma and I'll teach her a lesson. Forehead. Wu Jiangtao didn't know what to say, so he just nodded. It's also strange that on the issue of who bullies whom, the Wu family sided with Chen Jun, while the Chen family protected Wu Jiangtao. I watched my grandparents get in the car, wave to me, and then I watched them disappear as the car drove away. Tears couldn't stop flowing from Chen Jun's big eyes. The car had clearly disappeared, but she was still standing there waving. When she was in high school and had to live in a boarding school, when she left her grandparents for the first time, and every Sunday afternoon after that, when she left them, she would cry quietly on the way. And the year she was admitted to M University, at the airport entrance, she couldn't help looking back every step she took. Every step she took, she could see her grandparents standing at the other end, looking up at her from afar. She still remembers the persimmon tree in front of her grandparents' house. In autumn, the persimmons were ripe on the tree. When she was a child, she stood under the tree and looked up at the persimmons with envy. Coming to this world, there are too many words that cannot be said. Grandma and Grandpa, please stay a little longer. Stay, look at the baby, and stay with me. But what he finally said with sobs was, "It's okay, I can do it, we'll be fine. Be careful on the road." On the side, Mo Wan and Chen's father, who had not left yet, watched their daughter crying in Wu Jiangtao's arms. They felt distressed and uncomfortable at the same time. There have been few times in her life when my daughter was so reluctant to leave me. After all, as a mother, I spent so little time with her that she became closer to her grandparents when she grew up. "Let's go back. It's windy outside, you'll catch a cold if you stand like this." Wu Jiangtao comforted Chen Jun. Chen Jun calmed down and let him lead her back. Mr. Mo and Chen's father walked beside them, comforting their daughter softly, saying that she